Yo, what's up, Omega? What's going on, Dirt? Be number one. Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's going on? Give me a second. Ah. Whew. Yo, what's up, Raz? What's going on? What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. I figured we'd do something fun tonight. I was going to I'm doing a tier list of my console experience. And these are the consoles that I owned. I'm only putting the tier list to on the consoles that I own. And that's what we're doing tonight and everything. So just reading some Fantastic Four. What's up, Cavern? What's up, Rose? What's going on? What's going on? So as I said before, just to let you guys know, just to give you guys a reminder, I'll be streaming, and I'm trying to be consistent with this. I'll be streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Times vary because I'm a dad, of course. So sometimes my daughter have after school activities, and I have to pick her up after school. But sometimes it could be anywhere from 4 or maybe 6 o'clock. So I can't I don't really have it. It will be in the evening on the weekdays or whatever like that. When it comes to the stream schedule, so it can be anywhere from 5 or maybe 6 or 7 o'clock. Anywhere from 5 to 7 o'clock it start on Monday and Wednesday. Friday, I'm going to try to start at 5 o'clock. I'm going to try to start at 5 o'clock. Also, Mondays are really like a toss up because I'm a recurring podcast member on Countercast. So sometimes Wednesdays, it depends. It's like random how, when we get selected, because he has so many cast members and they rotate everybody out. So Mondays is always gonna be a toss up. Sometimes it may be a stream, it may not be a stream. It depends on if I'm going to be on Countercast or not. So we have to wait and see. But yes, I'm trying to stick it hard with this with Pauls. When it comes to the streaming, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Every once in a while, I may do a weekend or whatever. I may just shadow drop a stream on the weekend. But last week I accomplished streaming last week. I did Monday, Wednesday, and Friday last week. So I'm proud of myself. I was able to do consistently. I stayed with that schedule. So I'm going to try to do that from here on out. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can probably hear my brothers. They playing Marvel Rivals. My number one is the Xbox 360 to get the tiny bit of PS2 complete miss Sega and only. Said, hey Mugen, can't wait to see your list. PS2 is the GOAT console for me. What's up, Emerald? What's going on? I'm waiting. Twitter server has been acting up because I'm trying to get my because I'm streaming on all three I'm streaming on 3 platforms. YouTube, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and X. And right now, X been acting up all day today, and it's not connecting. It's not connecting to X. So I keep checking on that. So before we even get into it, you know what we do here. So yes, just to let you guys know, because for some reason, some of you guys, I'm just discovering that some of you guys don't even know I'm on X. So yes, you can check me out on X. That's where you can ask me a shit ton of questions. You can always see my point of view when it comes to gaming topics or whatever issues or whatever I talk about on X. You can definitely check it out. You can also DM me and chat it up with me and stuff. Also, if you have some topics that you want me to talk about on live streams for future streams, or maybe even in a video, you can also message me here on X. So make sure you definitely follow me on X. You can always stay up to date with what's going on. That's why with some topics I don't even bother to cover, because I end up having the conversation on X itself and everything like that. So some things I just keep on X opposed to making a video out of it or whatever. So definitely check me out on X. Yes, and there's some of you I just discovered from those, for those of you who found me on X, don't even know I have a YouTube channel, despite me posting my YouTube videos with the links and everything. So also I'll put my link to my YouTube channel. So if you want to subscribe to me or like the videos that I have and everything. You said hopefully Twitter gets fixed. Been a long time since I've been on it. Yeah, so definitely you can check me out on YouTube. You can subscribe to the channel. You can check out my gaming content that I have here. I've been going through like a shift or a pivot. I'm going back to really just sticking to more gaming topics opposed to culture war topics. Not saying I'm fully getting rid of culture war stuff. If I have a nuanced take or want to give my opinion about something, I definitely will give my opinion about something. But yes, I'm going back to my gaming content stuff. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. It's not stressful or anything. But yes, definitely check it out. So yes, and then we're gonna move on to my brother's website, both my brother's website, Strike and Kill Tees. We're a custom t-shirt company. We create all kinds of custom t-shirts. We're graphic designers. So all the designs you find on this website, you cannot find them anywhere else because they're designed by us. So you have to come to the website to be able to make any purchases that we have when it comes to the content that we make. We don't just do custom t-shirts. We do hoodies, hats, mug. We also do bathing suits, halter tops. We do a whole lot of stuff, wallets, mouse pads, and you name it. And we'll also be going to some conventions this year. So stay tuned for some announcements of which conventions we popping up at with Striking KOTs. And of course, Vienna Ryan Comics will be there as well. Mugen TV will have its own store within Striking KOTs. So you better get Mugen TV and Mugen Lord merchandise as well. So stay tuned for that when that store opens up. Here are like the promoters, content creators that we've been working with, streamers and everything we've been working with, and cosplayers who have pretty much, we sent a care package to, they unboxed it, and they have brought a lot of traffic to our website and everything. So appreciate it from them as well. So you can check out their videos of the unboxing of the products that we have made and everything for promotion and everything. So yeah, so Striking KOTs, I'll put the link in the comment section here for you guys to go check out. So definitely give it a try. $5 off for this whole year. You want $5 off. So when you make sure you put the promo code when you get there, to get $5 off on any of your purchase. And like I said, if you have anything you want us to do your merchandise, or you have a gift, you want to give somebody a gift, or you just want to have a custom shirt for yourself, just contact us in the chat, and my bros will get to you right away. We're stationed in Philadelphia, so if you live close by the Philadelphia area, you don't even have to wait for us to deliver it. You can actually drive down to the studio location and pick up your items, and you get a chance to meet me and my brothers as well. Or if you live really, really close by, we can just drive it to you and drop it off. So it's up to you. It's up to your decision right there. And then, of course, Venus Orion Comics newsletter. I'm going to say it once again. It's very important that you get on this newsletter, because if you do, you'll be able to gain behind the scenes access and knowledge what goes on behind the scenes with Venus Orion Comics. Plus, you get free wallpapers and other cool goodies that I will put out often. And also remember, there will be a lot of contests coming out pretty soon from Venus Orion Comics, where we'll have some giveaways with merchandise, and even chapter 1 of VK as a prize as well. And in order for you to participate in these prizes, whether it's gaming tournaments or whatever the prize may be, art contests or anything like that, in order for you to participate in it, you have to be part of the newsletter. You have to subscribe to the newsletter. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't hurt for you to put it on there. So definitely check it out. Make sure you do that. Also, at the bottom of this page, there's my social media links. At the bottom where you can find Venus Around Comics, the YouTube channel, the X profile, and soon on Strike and QOTs, and also Instagrams. You can check those out and you can follow and show some support there. Also, as far as Venus Around Comics go, with the comic book, just a quick update. Just a quick update, real quick. The comic, I said earlier, if you look in the community tab, I said earlier that the books for covers B, C, and D is supposed to be coming from the 13th to the 18th. And now it's been delayed to the 18th only because when I ordered the books and I put the receipt and everything up, when I ordered the books, I waited 2 days later and didn't know that Mixam, the company that's printing up the books, didn't know that they needed a second confirmation to make sure, because what I found out was, even though I sent the first confirmation, print off the books or whatever like that. But this is my first time ordering a big amount, a huge amount of books. So before they print it off, they want to get a second confirmation from me, because this is a huge volume, over $1,400 or whatever like that, and they don't want no mistakes in the printing process. They want to make sure that everything is good to go. So me and my dumb ass didn't check the email and didn't know that they sent this, that they do a second confirmation thing. So 2 days went by after I showed the receipt that, hey, they printed them off. When I checked my email, Venus Around Comics email, they was waiting for me. So I said, man, they waited 2 days, and here it is. 2 days went by, and I never even checked to make sure that there was a second confirmation. So yes, I did the second confirmation, and now the covers B, C, and D won't be coming from the 13th to the 15th. My fault, 13th to the 15th. Instead, it'll be coming on the 18th, and that's next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, covers B, C, and D is coming. Cover A is a large volume, over 117 books. That's coming on the 25th. So this Friday, because I promised that this week the digital comics were going to come out, because the physical was supposed to come here, and now it's being pushed to Tuesday. So I'm still going to release the digital comics this week, this Friday. All digital comics will be going out, and you guys will be first here to know. So yes, this Friday I'm still going to put out the digital comics, because that Tuesday the books will be here. Well, the first 3 covers will be here, and then on the 25th, which I believe is on a Friday, I think, if I'm mistaken or not, or the following week or whatever like that, that'll be there, and we'll start beginning fulfillment. But you guys will be able to read the digital comic over the weekend. So this Friday, I'm gonna be spending all day, because it's hundreds of you guys. So I gotta go through every tier to make sure everybody get the proper digital cover that goes to their tier and stuff like that. So I'll be sitting all Friday figuring that out before I get on my live stream and everything. So I can't wait to hear what you guys think. This is my first time publishing a book, my first time writing a story. So hopefully you guys see the potential where this could possibly go as far as VK is concerned and Venus Around Comics. So I really appreciate you guys for giving me a chance, and I thank you. And as I said before, those who missed out on the pre-orders, you'll be able to get chapter 1, only the base cover, when the website launch. The website might be launching anywhere from May to June. The website is going to launch, and when the website launch, I'll have a store open. Once the store is open, I'll be selling the merchandise, and I'll be selling VK chapter 1. So if you missed out on it, you'll be able to make a purchase of this if you want. But since you did miss out on the campaign, you missed out on these cool covers: cover B, cover C, and cover D. And also, as I said before, cover D has a full wraparound. This is the manga cover. As I said before, fully colored. I went with an anime style drawing. My artist, Chabibit, Jessica, she's a really good artist. And also, the paper is premium gloss on the front cover, back cover, and the pages itself. And since it's gloss, that means the colors pop out, and even the text pop out as well. So you got a premium quality book as well. So I can't wait till this book get in your hands. And if you bought a physical, you get digital for free. So yes, you'll be getting your digital over the weekend as well for those who also bought the physical. Those who bought the digital only, of course, your digital copy will be going out this weekend as well. So everybody be getting their digitals over the weekend. So stay tuned for that. So yes, so that pretty much covers everything I wanted to say about VK, Variant Killers, Vampire Killers, and make sure I got everything where it needs to be. Okay, let's get this started. Oh yeah, before I even show, and also too, like I said, I got a mouse pad for VK. It's the main one of the main characters from the oldest Draven brother, Hezekiah Draven, aka Young Raph. Mouse pad, and also Variant Killers, Vampire Killers mouse pad as well. So yeah, so it's the mouse pad. So this is the merchandise that we do make. We make everything in house. Also, I love this. There's a tumbler, a tin, keeps your drinks cold and everything. Hezekiah Draven. We have the other brothers. We have Variant himself, and even with the mouse pads, we have everybody. So yeah, so that's everything. You about to get to this tier list now. All right, let me get this started. Let's get this started here. By the way, even if the Kickstarter is finished, are you able to still order items like mouse pad, cups, and layer mouse? Yeah, when the website goes up, that hit. When the website go up, you'll be able to buy all that. You'll be able to get you'll be able to buy t-shirts, you'll be able to buy the hoodies, you'll be able to buy the sweatpants, you'll be able to buy the leggings, you'll be able to buy the mouse pads, the mugs, the tumblers, you'll be able to get all that stuff. So yeah, don't have to worry about it. You'll be able to get all that stuff. All right, so let me go through this. What's up, PJ? What's going on? What's going on? What's up, Jonan? What's up, Triforce? My nigga Nate, what's up, bro? Said N64 will always be my favorite. All the late night gaming sessions we had. Yep. My favorites are the Super Nintendo, original Nintendo 64, also the GameCube. Oh yeah, so you just strictly Nintendo with that one. Yeah, so still won't let me have X on there. Did I miss the list? No, you didn't miss the list. What's up, Sam? How many? You'll see the game systems in a second. I'm only tier listing the systems that I own. That's all. That's what I'm tier listing. We're not doing handhelds. Handhelds will be another on like VR headsets and handhelds, like mobile and stuff like that. We'll be doing that on a separate tier list. But it's only consoles that I own. What's up, Monster? What's going on? Oya or we riot. All right, so we're gonna get this started right now about this tier list that I have here. So let's get this bad boy started. All right, so here we go right here. Now, how I'm doing it is I'm doing it by my experience, like my experience with the consoles that I own and how I feel about them. You have unforgettable. This console gives me just an unforgettable experience. It's like my top. This is my S tier. Unforgettable experience, something that will always be hard grained into my head until the day I die. It was like that. I mean, it pretty much impacted my life. It's like it's life changing to me. So you get the unforgettable tier. Then you have the favorite tier, which is my favorite consoles, like the console that I enjoy the most. That I play, I enjoy it, I like it, I had good times, good memories with it, and stuff like that. And then you have the potential tier, meaning that this console, it had the potential to be my favorite. It was so much potential there, but it was missing a few things that held it back from being a console that one I will recommend if you can find it. And the fact is that I would still play it to this day. You know what I'm saying? It was that potential. Then you have the lackluster. Like the system was just lacking in just every bit of the way, it could be like a little gem that's there, but the rest of it is just purely lacking. It's just lacking, and then you just got trash. I mean, this console is just pure trash. There's nothing good about the console at all. It's just trash in my personal opinion. And like I said, this is from my personal experience. So yes, let's see what we got here. Hip says 360 my favorite system of all time. Oh, cool. I think 15, not counting handhelds. Nice. Chat when mentions the system, put the tier word in the chat. It said I should do a game tier. I did ended up buying a Dreamcast. I'm low key jealous. So yes, these are the consoles that I own. These are the consoles. So the consoles I'll name off the consoles that I own if you guys can't see it from here. So Dreamcast, 3DO, Atari 2600, Atari Jaguar, Xbox Series X, Nintendo GameCube, Xbox One, Nintendo 64, Nintendo Switch, PS4, PlayStation 1, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, Super Nintendo. Where's my NES at? Shit, man. What? Fuck. Wait, hold up. Oh, hold up. Why the NES thing didn't load up? Hold up. I gotta put the I gotta put the NES in here. The hell? 1 second. I gotta load up the put the NES. I don't know why the NES is not in here. I could swore I clicked it. All right, 1 second, guys. Give me a second. I knew that was nothing can ever go perfect, you know. And here is I was fighting my hardest to make sure everything was there. There we go. All right, so let's go back. Yes. So let's go back. So where was I? Yes, PS5, the Turbografx, the Nintendo Wii, Wii U, Xbox 360, the original Xbox, and the NES. Oh my God, the PS3. And where's my PS2? Jesus Christ, man. Wait, hold up, man. Yo, I clicked the P. Why did they didn't put it on there? Hold up, man. Let me go to my folder. PS2, I clicked it. What the hell? It didn't even click the PS3 either. Hold up, man. Damn. Fat Boy PS3. It's crazy as you can. 1 second, guys. That just pissed me off. All right, pull this up. All right, put this here. Oh, man, come on. Damn. All right. Let me go back to the tier list and put the image in here. Fuck. All right, where's the folder at? That's there we go. Folder. Damn, man. All right. All right, let's do it again. Damn. All right, so where was I? Fuck. So about to watch your stream from my Fire Stick. Cool. I know the Xbox One is going to the lackluster. If I had to choose my top three, PS2 NES, Blunders chat. What's up, Raph? Movie Lord News. A trash console when you see it. Somebody stole my systems, man. Perfect timing as usual. Falling off. Would you count add-ons? Nah, I'm not counting add-ons. Like when I count, say for instance, if I talk about Sega Genesis, I will also include Sega CD and Sega 32X in that package. They're add-ons. Yeah, so Well, yeah. All right. 360. Yeah, all that's gonna be inside of all that. So yes, okay. All right. So we want to of course start off with the NES. Um, let me see. I would say that the NES would be in the unforgettable experience. And the only reason why I'm saying that because this was the very, very first console I've ever played, and I also connected with. And that's because the first game I ever played was The Legend of Zelda on the NES at the age of 4 years old. Now, I was born in 1987, but at the age of 4 years old is when I played. When I played the Legend of Zelda. When I was playing, that was the first time I ever put my hand on the controller and everything like that. My dad has the console, and what happened was I remember where my mom and dad said to me that when I was in the womb and my dad would play Legend of Zelda or whatever, the day when I came out the womb and I was born and my mom brought me home and dad turned on the NES, and when the opening Legend of Zelda theme song come on, mom and dad said that my eyes was wandering around the room trying to find that sound and where it was coming from because it was familiar to me because I heard the Legend of Zelda theme in the womb. It was recognizable to me even though I wasn't even born yet. So when I came out the womb, my mom and dad said my eyes blew up. My eyes just widened from my sleep. I woke up and just heard it, and my eyes were just shifting around trying to find where that sound is coming from. When my dad had the NES on playing Legend of Zelda. So yes, that was like a magical moment for me. And then I ended up beating the NES version of the game of Legend of Zelda as well. So I had so many fond memories of that. And then of course my cousins I remember I used to go to my cousin's house and they had their NES. And I used to love playing Popeye, which was pretty cool. Donkey Kong, Double Dragons. What else? It was another Duck Hunt. It was so many fun games, and of course Mario, Super Mario Brothers 2, which was also a fun game I used to play. Contra, Bionic Commando was another fun game, another good game I used to play when I was young on the NES. It was just some great, memorable, fun experience. And even though I had Super Mario Brothers, I still wasn't like a big Mario Brothers fan. I played Mario Brothers, owned Mario Brothers on the NES, but it wasn't my favorite game. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but I always pick Zelda over Mario. Mario's not really my favorite like platformer or whatever like that at that time too. So yeah, man, it was an unforgettable experience. It was my very, very first experience. That's why I have to put that up there. Um, the Atari 2600, I would just say lackluster. And the only reason why I'm saying lackluster is because it was before I was born. I had the 2600 because my dad has it and stuff. And I only remember a time as a kid where my dad went into the basement because he had it packed up and stored up in the basement. And I remember as a kid that he brought it out of the basement and unboxed it and everything. And that shit is huge. That shit is fucking huge, man. That fucking console, fucking huge. And I remember him plugging it up and everything. And he gave me a controller. He had Pitfall. He had a lot of games for it. But I mean, the console was just old. I don't know. It was just old. It was just old. I couldn't get into it. All the games that we played and tried, it did not capture my interest and stuff. So I think that's just more of an age thing. But it was kind of lackluster for me. So I didn't really have like fond memories of it since I didn't really grow up with it. I grew right into the NES. So the Atari 2600 came way before I did. So I didn't it was quite lacking for me. No, I don't think no, it didn't come after. I think it came a little I think it came a little bit before the PlayStation, I think. A little bit before the PlayStation if I can remember. Let's see. This is hard. Dreamcast underrated. I watched my cousin beat Bionic Commando. Gamer from birth. Still top 10. Um, I said I've never beaten that first Zelda. There was no direction with which at the time I got very confused. My dad used to just sit tolerate me on his lap and play Tekken and GT on the PS2. He said, "We back. What's up? What's up, Neo?" He said, "I had the Zelda collectors on the game." Yep. I have that too, Emerald. I have that collectors. Wind Waker is the cartoony one. Yep, it is. We'll talk about that. Dreamcast underrated. It came out. Yeah, it came out a little bit before the PlayStation. Okay. Let's see. And after the Genesis, yeah, the PlayStation came out in 1995. Yeah. So let's see. Next. Um, let's see what we're gonna do next here. Sega Genesis. I will also put that in the unforgettable experience. And the reason why I'm putting that in the unforgettable experience, you have to understand the Sega Genesis was my first console that I owned, that my parents bought for me, little kid me. I had my first when the Sega Genesis came out. My parents had bought it for me, and I had Sonic the Hedgehog. I had Alter Beast when I first had my Sega Genesis. Loved the hell out of the Sega Genesis, and Sega Genesis is responsible for my love for Sonic the Hedgehog. I love Sonic the Hedgehog, and I show you guys time and time again that I still have my Sonic doll back when I was a little kid that my parents had bought me when they came back from their vacation. When our babysitter, the babysitter was watching us while mom and dad were on their date, and they brought back the Sonic and Tails. Keo had Tails, I had Sonic. But Sega was that time where I was actually growing in and learning and developing my skills as a gamer. This is where Sonic the Hedgehog, it really tests my hand and eye coordination, especially how fast Sonic is moving across the screen. And I had a hard time. I remember on Sonic 1 as a little kid trying to beat the first Robotnik boss level that was on the Green Hill Zone, where he had the bulldozer that goes left and right while you jump on either platforms. I used to struggle with it as a kid. I was in kindergarten. And I remember that one time where I fought so hard, man, to try to beat that level. Finally beat Robotnik. And I turned the game off because I wanted to surprise my mom and dad. So I showed my mom and defeated Robotnik. So I had to wait for dad to get home from work so I could show dad. And I remember mom and dad, and I'm playing the game, showing mom and dad. And man, when I beat Robotnik, man, the first Robotnik boss, and I remember my mom hugged me, gave me a kiss. My dad, he patted me on the head and stuff, and they was all cheering and everything. And I remember that experience growing up, man. It was a lot of platformers, man. And I had one of the biggest birthdays during the time of me owning the Sega Genesis. I remember when Sonic 2 came out. Sonic 2 came out, I believe, around the time of my birthday. I believe. I can't remember the date of Sonic 2, but I remember on my birthday, man, every kid knew, because everybody was talking about Sonic 2, but every kid knew that I was going to be the first to get Sonic 2. So I remember every kid on the block came over on my birthday, and my parents had the birthday gifts, my godparents, friends, family, and everything. And we had all this food, birthday cake, and then we had somebody dressed up as a Ninja Turtle that also came to the party and everything. And I remember open up the gift, man, and there it was, Sonic 2, man. We finally see Sonic has a sidekick, and that was Tails, man. So that was something that me and Keo, I always seen Keo as, I'm Sonic, he's Tails. You know what I'm saying? I'm Batman, he's Robin. They're like me and Keo, man, like me and my brother, we always played together and everything. So Sonic 2 was something that me and my brother Keo played together. And then, of course, Tiny Toons Adventure, another hard as hell and long as hell platforming game. And that was the first time I was introduced to what a password was. I knew nothing about passwords. So how I got better at the game, every time I died, I had to start all the way back over again. All the way over again to get back to the level that I was at. But my mom said, wait a minute, there's a password. And my dad said, get it, son, there's a password. I was like, what's a password? So on Tiny Toons Adventure, you had that other character called Bookworm. And every time you beat a level or whatever like that, or you get game over, the password thing comes up. So mom and dad took out a notebook and wrote down the password. So when I restarted the game and the password was right there, and mom and dad said, look, son, you put in these codes right here. I put it in, and it took me right back to the level I was like, wow. So I got introduced to what passwords were in a video game. So I can go on all day. And of course, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, also Sonic 3 and Sonic Knuckles. These were my favorite experiences with the game. And then also I got the Sega 32X as well. And that's when I got introduced to Virtua Fighter. And I had Virtua Fighter and I had Doom. That's the only two games that I had for the 32X and everything. And that add-on was pretty cool. The reason why I wanted to get 32X was because Knuckles Chaotix. But this is during the time the 32X was pretty much out, like they wasn't even carrying it no more. It sucked that bad. They didn't, all the games, you couldn't find them anywhere. So my mom and dad couldn't find, no matter how hard they tried to try to get Knuckles Chaotix for me, they just couldn't get it for me because they couldn't find it. It was nowhere to find Knuckles Chaotix. That was the only reason why I wanted the Sega 32X for Christmas, because I wanted Knuckles Chaotix, because I wanted to complete my Sonic collection for the Sega Genesis, and that was one game I just couldn't complete, was Knuckles Chaotix. But yeah, there was some great experiences that I had with the Sega Genesis, so that will always be an unforgettable experience for me when it comes to that. Let's see what we got here. Said Echo the Dolphin. Said, oh, what's up, Beastman? I only remember playing Mortal Kombat 2 and Super Mario World with my mom when I was like 4 or 5. He said my brother owned that console and shared it with me and played consoles the most. Yo, Mugen, been a while, bro. I've been good, Kaiser. What's going on? He said, so many good memories of the console. Oh, I forgot. Thanks. Rocket Knight Adventure. Oh, I'm so glad I seen this, Landon. Yeah, I also have Rocket Knight Adventure. Rocket Knight Adventure. Oh my God, man. That game was so fucking epic. And I still, to this day, I still never beat the game. That game was hard as fuck. That game was so dope. And this is during the time of the mascots, where you had Sonic, you got Echo the Dolphin, you got Mario, you got Bubsy, and then you had Sparkster from Rocket Knight Adventure. And the Sega version was much superior than the Super Nintendo version. I don't know what the fuck they was going with the Super Nintendo version. But yeah, man, Rocket Knight Adventure. Oh yeah, I didn't get the Mean Bean Machine, but I did get Sonic Spinball. Sonic Spinball was a weird Sonic game. So mom bought me the Genesis with Splatterhouse 2, Alien Syndrome, and Arch Rival. It said that's the game that made me fear any game that has deep water sections. That freaking octopus freaked me out. Don't get me started with water phobia in video games, man. Water levels freak me out in games. Gotta love the bug codes in Sonic 91. The password system was introduced to me in Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat 3. It said Landon said, hell yeah, and because no answer. Mortal Kombat 1 for the blood instant win. Yeah, the blood. Yeah, we're gonna get to the code part with the consoles in a second with fighting games. Sunset Riders. Oh my God, I had that on Super. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll about to get to that in a second. I would say that Super Nintendo was another one that was an unforgettable experience for me, was because now I was a Sega kid. I had an NES and Sega Genesis. Now I have a Super Nintendo. Now I'm gonna say this. It may hurt some feelings, but man, once I got my Super Nintendo, I didn't play my Sega no more. The only time I was playing Sega was for Sonic games. The reason why I went back to play Sega is when they announced Sonic and Knuckles, and now that was like the first DLC. Like you able to put Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 on Sonic and Knuckles. But once I got a Super Nintendo, man, I didn't play my Sega ever again. Super Nintendo took over my life when I was a kid, because this is where I was opened up to a whole new world of gaming, and that whole new world was RPGs, JRPGs, man. And when I got my Super Nintendo, my Super Nintendo came with Mario Kart and Super Mario World. And then when you send out that Super Mario All Stars rebate. When you get a Super NES, at the time you get a Super Mario All Star rebate because you couldn't buy Super Mario All Star. You had to mail it out. You had to mail out the rebate, and then Nintendo would mail you the cartridge or the box. It will mail you Super Mario All Stars at the time. So I had 3 games, and I remember on the Super Nintendo, man, I used to stay up all night playing Super Mario Kart. Oh my god, I love Super Mario Kart, man. Me and my brother Kyo used to play a lot, especially with the split screen mode 7. And then also the music and the soundtrack was just so good to Mario Kart. Then me and my brother used to play Super Mario World. Like I said, I'm not really a big Mario platformer type of gamer or type of guy. So I didn't really play Super Mario World that much. But then Super Mario All Stars I played a lot was because, man, you got a bunch of Mario games on there. So there was a bunch of games on there. And then, like I said, Super Nintendo changed my life. It was a life-changing experience when it'd be an unforgettable experience for me because I got introduced to JRPGs. The first JRPG I was introduced to was Secret of Mana. And we had the multi-tap because during the Super Nintendo, we was able to we had bought Super Bomberman. Super Bomberman was at game night, we were very competitive. My dad and my uncles used to bring their sons. It was just full of testosterone, just uncles, cousins, fathers bringing their sons. So we all around the same age. So I grew up with my cousins, grew up with my uncles and my dad and stuff like that. So we had game night. We was very, very, very competitive. I used to love game night a long time ago. When I say it was testosterone, it was testosterone. While we got the game set up, my uncle and them, they got the bench. They're lifting weights while everybody else is in the front, competing and playing Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that. They will all take turns at the weight bench lifting weights. And when I say testosterone, it's testosterone. Or they used to go out in the yard while everybody out in the front playing the game in the living room. Sometimes they used to go in the yard and they used to throw on boxing gloves and they used to just spar with each other in the back. So I was just around just nothing but testosterone. So game night was just something back then growing up, being with my dad and my cousins and my uncles and stuff, my dad brothers and everything. So yeah. So Super Bomberman was one of those competitive games that they used to play. And so my dad went out and bought Super Bomberman and came with the multi-tap, came in this big box, came with the multi-tap. And that's when my dad bought Secret of Mana. I don't know what made him buy it, but he bought Secret of Mana. And I was just mesmerized by it. When you just put that cartridge in, it has that weird sound effect when you had the square saw symbol, and then just that melody, that charm that Secret of Mana just had with the game and everything. And I was like, yo, man, like, it was like I was being transported to like a whole new world when it came to Secret of Mana. And then I used to sit down and watch my dad play Secret of Mana. And then from there, my dad found out it was actually a multiplayer. We did 3 players. So it was a 3-player action RPG. And now we get the multi-tap. I mean, we got like 6 Super Nintendo controllers. So that's when me, Keo, and my dad, we used to sit in the living room with dad and just play Secret of Mana. And we used to enjoy every last bit of it. And this is where I was getting introduced to JRPGs. And then, of course, you cannot forget Chrono Trigger. I got Chrono Trigger, man. And I remember going to my Uncle Gene's house. It was my dad's older brother. And my Uncle Gene loved JRPGs. He has a separate drawer with all his Super Nintendo games and all his games and stuff. And I remember, like, every time I used to go around my Uncle Gene's house, I also used to borrow one of his games. He would let me hold one of his games. And I remember him opening up the drawer, and I seen this cool looking box art, and it was Chrono Trigger. And he said, "You sure you ready for this game?" So I said, I don't know, like I want to try it. So little boy me, he let me hold Chrono Trigger, and I played that game, man, and fell in love with it, man. Introduced to so many fascinating characters, and it just opened my mind, and it made me realize that video games is not just something that you just plug into a console, turn on the TV, and just press buttons. It let me know that gaming it's art. It's not a toy, it's art. And I was just sucked into the world of Chrono Trigger and his characters and how intricate the time travels and how timelines work. And little boy me just didn't understand, was just absorbing all this type of gaming experience and stuff. And Chrono Trigger really, really changed my life. And then after that, I was introduced to Final Fantasy 3, which is actually Final Fantasy 6. I didn't play Final Fantasy 6 because my uncle said I may not be ready for this yet, especially at my age, or like that. So I was pretty much working my way up to Final Fantasy 6. So then, of course, Super Mario RPG, Secret of Evermore, Super Battletoads. I got that on my birthday. That was the game that introduced me to high difficulty. Super Battletoads was hard as hell. Me and Keo used to play the hell out of that damn game. Arcade beat 'em up. Awesome graphics for the Super Nintendo. Awesome soundtrack, man. And we couldn't get past the hover bike stage. That hover bike stage is hard as fuck. Love the hell out of that game. And then on top of that, I used to play I had the WWF games, NBA Jam. You see how long I'm going on with Super Nintendo? I have more experiences way farther with Super Nintendo than I had with the Sega Genesis, despite Sega Genesis giving me unforgettable experiences. But Super Nintendo was where it was at. Mario RPG, the whole 9 yards. And I just love the Super Nintendo, man. So let's see what we got. Yo, what's up? What's up, man? What's up, LG? What's up, Quiet? What's going on? He said I actually really didn't like Dark Water. Didn't really have a fear. Sonic Spinball, that was one of the hardest games. Yeah, I could never beat that shit, dog. Yeah, I didn't get Gunstar Heroes until way, way later, until after I moved on to the PlayStation. That's why I ended up getting Gunstar Heroes later, but never really played it. I just had it packed away. Sunset Riders for the Super Nintendo, I had that. I didn't care for Earthworm Jim. I just thought Earthworm Jim. I just always thought Earthworm Jim was corny. SNES had all the JRPGs. You damn right it did, man. It had all of it. The SNES introduced me to one of the greatest fighting games of all time, the Killer Instincts Ultra Combo. Oh yeah, also with the Super Nintendo, Turtles in Time. I forgot all about it. I got Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. Turtles Fighting Tournament, which is the fighting game. And you gotta remember, back then on Street Fighter 2, you gotta remember the first Street Fighter 2, players could not mirror match. You couldn't pick the same character. So if one player picked Chun-Li, you couldn't pick Chun-Li. If another person picked Ken, you couldn't pick Ken. It wasn't until you had to put a code in. When the Capcom logo come up, you had to punch the code in. When you punch the code in, the Capcom logo would turn red or it would turn red or whatever like that. And then you're able to play as the same fighter on the screen. And then I remember when my uncles, during game night, my dad, my uncles, man, I remember we went to Franklin Mills Mall because Street Fighter 2 Turbo finally came out and they was fiending. We got in the car, we was like deep, bunch of niggas. We all got in the car. And I'm with my cousins. Like I said, I'm with my cousins, we all the same age, and we with our dads. And we all going down to Franklin Mills Mall because they all went to Electronic Boutique to go pick up Street Fighter 2 or whatever the game store was at the time. We get there, they going crazy. Yeah, yo, they like, yo, this is crazy. Now we get to play as the bosses. You get now because you remember Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Now you got a chance to play as Sagat, Bison, Balrog, and Vega. And my dad was a Chun-Li main. So his secondary character was Sagat. He was a Chun-Li and Sagat main. So I remember when we came home, you didn't have to put no code in now. Now you're able to play as the same characters and stuff like that to do mirror matches if you wanted to. And then on top of that, now you have to play as the boss characters. And that was crazy. And then of course Super Street Fighter, and where we finally get our second female character, which is Cammy. That's when Cammy was introduced and stuff. Just memorable moments, man. Memorable moments. Oh, Star Fox. Shit, I got Star Fox as well. My fault. Star Fox was y'all keep reminding me because Super Nintendo has such a big library, and I don't have my games in front of me. All my games is packed away in storage, so I can't remember all the games that I have. Star Fox was something else, is because I remember the commercial was so weird. And you gotta remember, with Star Fox, the way they advertised it, I remember seeing it. Star Fox used to be like they used to use a puppet or animatronic. The like the Jim Henson Muppets and stuff. They did the same thing with Star Fox, with Slippy, Fox McCloud, Falco Lombardi, and Peppy the Hare. And they used to have them as Muppets on the commercial and stuff like that. and the commercial was so weird because it's introducing. It's called the. You know how Sega and them used to talk about turbo speed processing. Well, Super Nintendo talked about the Super FX graphics card for graphics. You know, for 3D images and stuff like that. So they was bragging about that with Star Fox. And I remember seeing that commercial, and my dad said, "Yo, I'm gonna get that joint." So Dad ended up getting it for me and getting it for me on Christmas. I remember playing that game. Beautiful soundtrack, man. Love the hell out of that damn game. Love the gameplay and all, man. And it was just amazing for its time. With the SF with the graphics effects chip. And then on top of that, I forgot to mention Donkey Kong Country. I got Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2, Diddy Kong's Quest. Hard as fuck. Like Rare had some of the hardest, the most difficult platforming games ever. Donkey Kong Country was that game, man. What's up, Robert? What's up, Brad? Hey, Mugen, remember when you can play Game Boy games on the SNES? Yeah, Super Game Boy. Yup. My family, Street Fighter Saturday game night. I remember me and the brothers played Marvin. Used to play. Yup. Chrono Trigger really left an impression. My 13-year-old mind back in 95. And then let's see. 6 showed it. Yes, Gunstar. So I remember Tournament Fighters came out. Dang. Jim Henson, Dark Crystal. Yeah. Star Fox used to be a Muppet. That's how they used to promote Star Fox. They were like Muppets. They like, and stuff like that back in the day. In the 90s. You were mentioning about DK64. Oh my god. We'll get to that when we get to the 64. Let's see. All right, now we're moving on to. Oh man, this is about to get crazy. We got a lot of unforgettable experiences. I guess we can let's go to the next thing. Should we do the PlayStation? Yeah, we'll do the no, not PlayStation yet. All right, so now we got the Turbografx. Turbografx, let me see. Turbografx had potential. Let's put it this way. Turbografx was made by Hudson Soft, the people who made Bomberman and many other games. Many people don't know what the Turbografx is, or in Japan it's called the PC engine in Japan or whatever like that. But the Turbografx was a pretty good console, and it was ahead of its time. It was way ahead of its time, which is another reason why people just didn't adapt to it right away, because it did have some pretty good titles, and then it had a multi-tap where you have up to like 5, maybe 6 players that my dad bought. We had 6 controllers, we had the multi-tap, and it had some pretty good games on there. And I remember we used to play that like especially my dad. We used to play that game. We used to play that console every night. And a lot of the games was it was a very Japanese console. When I say very Japanese, a lot of their games were very, very, very Japanese on there. And I remember their mascot, Bonk. Bonk they were trying to push that as their mascot. Bonk, I couldn't really get into that platformer, but there were some rare gems. They had a 5-player wrestling game on there. My favorite game was Dungeon Explorers. It was like a 5-player Diablo type of game that me and my brothers used to play. And I'll tell you one thing: the Turbografx had their games had some good soundtracks, and also the most powerful, or the most thing that the Turbografx was mostly known for was shoot 'em ups. It was the 2D side-scrolling shooters that they were known for. It really pushed the power of Turbografx. And if you was a person that was into shoot 'em ups, like R-Type and stuff like that, that was the console of your choice. Now, we never got the CD attachment because I don't think it ever came here. If it did, but by that time that happened, it didn't pick up. It didn't pick up off the ground. It didn't do too well here in the United States. It was pretty popular in Japan, but for some strange reason, the Turbografx, like I said, it had some great graphics, it had some great soundtracks, and it really pushed the envelope where you had actual animated cutscenes and stuff, and voice acting, and great, like I said, audio sound for a console such as the Turbografx, but it just never caught on here in America. Nintendo was just dominating. The only competitor that Nintendo had that was only able to compete with Nintendo was Sega. And it just, for some strange reason, man, Turbografx could not penetrate the US market. Debuted on the PC Engine in Japan as well. Yeah, the Fire Pro Wrestling. That was a good. That was a good console, man. And then it said the NES technology was definitely ahead of its time. It used cards instead of the card. They were like cards. They were like little cards that you use, and they were your cartridges, man. Really good console. And I'm definitely, like I said, when I moved to, because my dad, my dad's doing work on the new house. We have like we have like an 8-bedroom house that we didn't move into yet. My dad's a contractor and everything, so we have this 8-bedroom house. It needs a lot of work because during when the housing market crashed, they couldn't sell the house, and no matter, the realtors could not move their house because they wanted 164,000 for the I think they wanted 164,000 or 200,000 for the house, and nobody would buy the house because you have to put work into it. Now you're paying 200,000 for the house, and then now you have to put more money into the house. My dad's a contractor. He does plumbing, electrical work, contract needs a carpenter. So they ain't nothing to him. So what my dad did was, my mom and dad went to see the house, and my dad said, "Yo, you're not going to sell this house. No one's buying it. Y'all said y'all had this house on the market for what, 12 years?" So my dad said, "How about this? I'll give you $64,000 cash." Now you gotta understand, they would much rather have cash than have credit. Cash, you have a hard solid cash in your hand, you're getting all that money. You're not getting no installments or no payment. So my dad just gave them just $64,000 cash, just gave it to them, and they took it. So yeah, my dad bought the house. It's an 8-bedroom house. So my dad's planning on this summer, and we're gonna go around there too, me and my brothers, and we're gonna get a lot of people to work on it. We're gonna work on the house, and we're all gonna be moving to their house. I'm gonna have a bigger room. I'm gonna be in the basement. The basement is like huge as hell, so it's gonna be like my own little area, like my own. It's gonna be like an apartment, pretty much. And then my daughter's gonna have her room on like the second floor. Like my dad gonna have the third floor and stuff like that and everything. But everybody's gonna have their like their own bigger room and bigger space. So you're gonna see a different background and stuff when we finally get a chance to move. I'm gonna do like a whole tour of the house and the kitchen and stuff like that. So yeah. Oh, what's up, Lunchbox? I remember Keith Courage. Yeah, yep, Keith Courage. Yeah, and Keith Courage is a platform. He turns into a robot. Yeah, I got Keith Courage too. Said, did you play the console before Genesis? Yeah, I did Emily's Slayer House. Sounds amazing. Checks credit, take months to process. Yup. So yeah, man. So yeah, we'll be moving into that 8-bedroom house. Like my dad owns 4 houses, and he's fixing them all 4 of them out. He's gonna be renting them out. We got 4 houses, but I've been here this house my whole life. I've been in this house my whole life and everything. But yeah, we'll be moving. So yeah, let's move on to I guess you would call it something like that. So yo, what's up? Stream's going good, man. I love Blazing Lasers. All right, so the next console. All right, it's time to talk about it. I would say the 3DO is lackluster. I wouldn't call it trash. I would say it's lackluster. Now you have to remember, the 3DO back then was $700 or $800. It was like $700 to $800. I remember that. And you had to be rich. And the thing is, so you gotta remember, you have to count, like if you was to take that $700 to $800 and put it to today's standards, that would probably be over. It'll be over $1,000, probably $1,200 to $1,500 or whatever. So the 3DO, right? I remember my dad talking about the 3DO. If you guys don't know, EA, the owner of EA, you know EA, the shitty EA today. Yes, this was a console made by EA. The owner of EA made another division called 3DO, and he created the 3DO console. Now the thing about the 3DO was totally different. Was he wasn't going to manufacture a console. EA or 3DO wasn't going to manufacture the console. What they were going to do was they held the rights, they held the specs and everything to the 3DO, but they want to have different manufacturers design their own shell, their own casing for the 3DO technology. Panasonic was one of the manufacturers who manufactured the 3DO Panasonic. So at the time they were bragging about that this is going to be a 32-bit console. I believe, 32-bit console. It's going to be the most powerful console on the market. Remember, PlayStation wasn't out yet, so you only had the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, of course, the NES, Turbografx, and stuff like that. So this was an American-made console. They were bragging about it and everything, and people were looking forward to it. Like I said, back then in the 90s, gaming commercials were so epic. Because I remember, was it the 3DO or was it the Sega? I think it was the 3DO. The 3DO commercial, you had them throwing a dirty, dusty Super Nintendo in this box, Sega Genesis, and all these shitty consoles, or all these consoles that said, yo, like, forget about those consoles, get the 3DO and stuff like that. So what happened was, like I said, my dad's a contractor. So what happened was my dad was doing work for my godfather. My goddad wanted his kitchen done. So my dad's gonna do his kitchen. And that's my dad's homie. My godfather was my dad's elementary school friend. They've been day one niggas since day one. They went to the same church, same schools, from high school, from elementary school all the way to high school. So my dad's like, yo, you don't have to pay me. You don't have to pay me. Your only payment for me to do your kitchen, because my dad was just balling in money. So this is like a favor for my godfather. So my dad said, look, you don't have to pay me to do this kitchen. Just buy me the 3DO. That's the payment right there. Like I said, my dad's a gamer. So my godfather went out and bought the 3DO. That was the payment for my dad to do his kitchen. So he bought my dad the 3DO. So my dad got finished the job, and then I remember my dad coming home, and he came in with the box and everything like that. I was like, what's this? I didn't even know 3DO exists. Like I said, back then there was no internet. All you had was gaming magazines, but 3DO was still something that I didn't even know was a thing. So I remember my dad came home with the bag and everything. He opened it up. I said, a new game console. You know me, I'm happy as hell. A brand new game console that's not the Super Nintendo, that's not the Sega Genesis, not the NES or the Turbografx or the Atari. This is a brand new fucking console. So I remember, you see this room that I'm in right now? This used to be the man cave. This used to be my dad's man cave back then. Because a long time ago when we were young, me and Keo used to share the bunk beds together, and my little brother and my sister used to share the other bunk, the bottom bunk and stuff when we were little kids or whatever like that. This room used to be the man cave for my dad, and eventually dad brought me into the man cave and gave me my own section in the man cave or whatever like that. But now this became my room, you know, now that I'm an adult. But this used to be the man cave a long time ago. So I remember dad, you know, with the whole family, mom came into the room, all of us came into the room, and we watched dad unbox the 3DO, and he said it on his entertainment stand. And I remember when he opened it up and you press the button, the disc drawer came out, and the games use CD. Now I remember Sega CD or whatever. So this is like the second console that I've ever seen that uses CDs. So I'm mesmerized. You're no longer using cartridges or chips or anything. Now you're using CDs. So I'm thinking in my head, yo, this is the damn future. We using CDs. And I remember they had demos. They had demos on this disc to show you how powerful the console is and what it can do. You were able to play DVDs on it. It had Batman the Animated Series. It had the Mr. Freeze episode that came on the disc. So it can show you that, yo, it can play animated features on disc and everything. But when it came to the games was like ass. They only had some games that were actually pretty good. Return to Fire, which was like a military game that was split screen. You get these different military vehicles and stuff, was pretty good. And then you had this thing called it was a family game. It was called you go up these staircases. It's like a trivia game. I can't remember the name of the fucking game. It's off the top of my head. I can't remember. But it was this trivia game that we used to play as a family at night, in the room, and we used to play together and stuff. That was pretty fun as a family. But you know what the sad part about it was? Wing Commander. Wing Commander was my dad's favorite game because also Mark Hamill, he played in Wing Commander in the 3DO game, because a lot of 3DO games had a lot of celebrities playing in games. These CD-based games and stuff was kind of cringe. But yeah, you had Wing Commander. Dad loved the hell out of that game. As I said before, the sad part about the 3DO was the fact is that the reason why we played the 3DO so much was because they got so desperate where they came out with an SNES controller adapter converter. So you plug it into your 3DO, and now you're able to use Super Nintendo controllers to play the game. And to be honest with you, Super Street Fighter, my dad bought Super Street Fighter for the 3DO, and to me, that was the better version. They had, and Samurai Showdown. We had Samurai Showdown for the 3DO, and we had Super Street Fighter for the 3DO, and they were like the superior versions. They did 2D fighting games pretty good, but these were Japanese games. But when it came to the American games, they were just ass. But when it came to those 2D fighters from Japanese developers, it actually ran really, really good, really good on that platform. And we used Super Nintendo controls to play the 3DO. The console. It was so much. The potential was there if they would have just tried and got actual third-party support, because it was a Western console, so it was a lot of Western developers on it, and it was just shitty games. It was hardly any Japanese titles on a 3DO. If they had Japanese titles on it, it probably would have lasted. If they probably would have had something, if they would have just did that. Was 3DO the Zelda? No, that was the Philips CDI. He said we got spoiled with console choice back then. Yeah. I like what you said that, Sin Eater. We were spoiled with console choices. This is when the market was so niche, where everybody and their mom was making a console. Everybody was making a console back then. Tiger, the one that make the handhelds, they had a console. Everybody was making consoles back then. And I liked it back then because there was so much choice. And sometimes it was to the point where you didn't even know that these consoles exist, because it was so many of them and stuff. But once the I would say the video game crash, not the video game crash, but once it started growing and expanding, this is where the competition started getting knocked out. But there was so much player choice back then when it came to consoles. But yeah, it was lackluster. It could have had potential. It could have had potential if they would have got Japanese developers, because I think because they had something there. Because like I said before, Samurai Showdown and Super Street Fighter played really, really well on the 3DO, and it showed that it had some power. It was a beefy console. It just didn't have the software support from the Japanese. It said basically the 3DO was a glorified DVD player. CDI, Hotel Mario, doing my own game system tonight in honor of Mario Day. Cool. So I read that even X3 was going to be on it. It got canceled since the system wasn't too popular. So that would have been widespread if it was $200. Imagine DVD players more prevalent before 2001. Yup. It said Tiger was famous for his notorious handheld titles. Killer Instinct, Donkey Kong. So I like consoles for the fact is that you need not to mess with anything. You just put in the game. Yeah, it was always about how user friendly it is for consumers. Yeah. All right. So now the Atari Jaguar. That shit was ass. That shit was fucking ass. And this was another console that I didn't even know was out until my dad came home with it. This was another console that my dad came home that I didn't even know was a thing. My dad came home and he did it again. He came home and he said, "Come here, son." So I run upstairs with dad because every time when I hear in his voice and say, "Come here, son," I know that he got something to show me. So I run upstairs. Now I was the bigger game. I was the like, as far as the siblings are concerned, I was the gamer back in the day. Kia was more so into toys and action figures. And my sister played a little bit of games, but she was into her Barbies and stuff. Shrek was still a baby at the time. So I was the gamer sibling. Like, I was the gamer. So that's where me and dad was like really, really like close, because I was the one that really, we had the same like interests and stuff like that. So it was always me and dad. And Keel would tag along just to sit down and watch while he has action figures and stuff. But I would run in the room because I knew that dad had something. Run into the man cave, and he had the bag. He opened it up. There's the Jaguar. And that controller was shitty. That controller was shitty as fuck. I don't know what Atari was thinking. And then it was supposed to be the first 64-bit console before the Nintendo 64, which we also found out, like Maury Povich would say, that was a lie. So according to the results, when it comes to the Atari Jaguar being 64-bit, that was a lie. So yes, the Atari Jaguar was a shitty. When I say shitty ass console, that console was shitty as hell, and it came with this shitty ass flying game that came boxed in there with the cart. It had no music, and then it had like these macros. It's like a big bulky controller, directional pad with 3 buttons, and every game comes with its own macros that you put into like the middle of the controller. Shitty controller. I can't wait till I move to the big house. Once I go to the 8-bedroom house, I'm gonna unpack all this stuff. I'm gonna do like a whole legacy and talk about the consoles. I'm gonna break them into parts. Y'all gonna love this. And then I'm also gonna do it on stream too and talk about these consoles as well. But yeah, man. I will say this. That the game that I would say was actually pretty fun, it was only 2 games. Aliens vs. Predator, which was a first-person shooter, and also Doom. Those are the only 2 games that I enjoyed on that damn console. And my dad had like about like 8 games on that damn console. It didn't last long. That console was that ass. It was dead on arrival. Like Jaguar was fucking dead on arrival. So it was an expensive console too. So I remember my dad had this game called Iron Soldier. That was a game that dad played. And he used to play that a lot. But the two major games that dad used to play and dad let me play was Doom. And that was the first time I was introduced to Doom. I knew nothing about Doom. I was introduced to Doom through the Jaguar. And it's actually it was actually a solid port. The only problem with that Doom was it didn't allow it for some reason. It had no music. And that's why when I played Doom back in the day, since I played the Jaguar, I thought Doom never had music. And that's why Doom felt so scary to me. And that's why when the Dooms came out in the later ports for the SNES and the PlayStation 1, I used to turn the music off. Because I had the best of Doom experience when the music was turned off. But those were the only 2 solid games on the Jaguar. And they ran really, really solid on there. The Doom and also the Aliens vs. Predator. But it was ass. That console was trash, bro. When I say that shit was trash, that console was ass, man. The worst console ever. Trash. Said 3DO's 1588. Damn. Said, what? And my copy of Persona 2 is supposed to be around 400 at this market. Yeah, man. So now we're about to move on. Now we're going to move on to the 32-bit era. Because now this is where we're starting to move on to. So, unforgettable experience. We about to do it, boys. We about to go in, guys. Unforgettable experience. The PlayStation 1, guys. Oh my God. You gotta understand. We're about to step into a whole new era of gaming. This is where gaming was already fun. But this is where gaming started to get interesting. Because we started to see the evolution of gaming as far as technology, its visuals. Now we're starting to add better audio, voice acting, cinematic cutscenes. This is where we starting to step into the trenches when it comes to the PS1. And I remember my dad had a Game Informer magazine. He said, "Yeah, son, he said, yo, man, Sony coming out with a console." Now, the only thing I recognized with Sony was a Walkman. The Walkman was the only thing I recognized Sony for, because when I was a kid, my mom and dad had bought me a Walkman. They said my own Walkman. Used to record my own music and create my own mixtapes and stuff like that with my headphones and stuff. So I was confused as a kid. I said, Sony making a game system, like they known for just Walkmans and stuff like that when I was a kid. So I was kind of confused, but I didn't know it was a console because my dad kept saying PlayStation. I'm thinking of a train station or a toy station. I said, why would Dad want a train station for? He kept saying PlayStation. I'm just thinking of a train station for some reason, a toy set or something like that. I was confused as a kid. So my dad said, yeah, it's about to come out soon. He said he gonna go pick it up. So I remember we went to Virginia Beach as a family. All the extended family, everybody, we all went to Virginia Beach for the summer vacation, stayed at Virginia at the hotel on the beach. and everything. And I remember coming home after we came back from the beach. We was on our way home. Before we get back to Philadelphia, we always go to the Merlin rest stop to get some food. So we used to get Roy Rogers. That was a good place that sold chicken and fries and biscuits and stuff like that. So we used to go to Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers was a place that we used to eat at that was really that we really liked. So while we at the rest stop, we used to go to the bathroom. So while everybody's going into their favorite food courts, I was with Dad, and Keo was with Dad, and my little sister was with Mom or whatever, and Grandma and all of them. So my Uncle Kevin, my dad's little brother, my dad and Uncle Kevin said, "Yo, there it is right there." I'm like, "What?" I'm looking as a kid. There it was, Tekken 1 at the arcade. This is my first time seeing Tekken. First time seeing Tekken 1. And right beside it was X-Men Children of the Atom. And I remember my dad and my Uncle Kevin going over there. He brought me, Uncle Kevin and my dad took us over to the machines, me and Keo. And I remember looking at the two machines beside each other. Dad said, "Yeah, Tekken is coming to the PlayStation. PlayStation's not out yet. PlayStation's almost out. It's about to launch soon." And I like I said, I recall my dad talking about the PlayStation. And then, of course, Dad was like, "Yeah, and this is coming out for the Sega Saturn, X-Men Children of the Atom." So I didn't even know that Sega Saturn was a thing. All I know was the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, 32X, and all that type of stuff. I didn't even know the Sega Saturn was a thing. And Sega Saturn was out already, I think. So now I wanted the Saturn. Now I knew about the Sega Saturn. So what happened was, when it launched, I remember again. Now this time, my dad's little brother, my Uncle Kevin, and my Uncle Gene, my dad's older brother, all game night came to the house. When they found it, when dad called the guys up, said, "Yo, I got the PlayStation." Dad got it launched, and Mom was downstairs cooking wings for all the men in the house, and all the wives were downstairs, hanging out and stuff and cooking for the men, while all the men and their sons were upstairs. We all piled up in the man cave, in my dad's man cave and everything. And I remember, they brought the wings up and stuff like that and brought the food up. And Dad turned on the PlayStation. There it was, Batterina Toshiden, man. It was something I've never seen before. Actual voice acting, like the characters are calling out their moves. While they're fighting, they're calling out their moves. It's actual dialogue from the characters when they win and lose. It was something in the music. It was something I've never seen before. And I'm even little kid me during the PlayStation 1. I'm saying that, yo, and even my dad said it, yo, it can't get no better than this. The graphics can't get no better than this. It can't get any better than this. And here he was, man. The PlayStation 1 had brought so many memories in my life, man, especially with JRPGs. This is where JRPGs just took over my life. And I remember when I got my PlayStation, I played my PlayStation on Christmas so much that I had to return it. The next day, was because I played it so much. I think it overheated and it stopped reading discs. That's how much I played. And I remember that Christmas, I got Crash Bandicoot, Gex the Lizard. Was it Mortal Kombat? Was it Mortal Kombat Trilogy? I think it was Was it Mortal Kombat Trilogy? If I can remember, it might have been Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I can't remember. Jumping Flash. Yeah, Jumping Flash 2. I just had a bunch of fucking games for the PS1 on Christmas. It was a lot of fucking games. Oh yeah, I think Johnny the Bazooka and the Bazooka Tone. I got that. There's a couple other games. It was so neat fucking games that my parents bought me for the PS1. And I got a memory card and everything. And I played it so fucking much. Crash Bandicoot was my fucking game. And my dad recorded it. He had a camcorder. So one day when we get a chance, my dad got to find it. He has it all packed away. One day when my dad find the camcorder with the stuff with me playing the PlayStation as a little kid, playing Crash Bandicoot and stuff, I'll show that to you guys. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of different special episodes, retro episodes and stuff like that as well. But yeah, man, there was those were some memorable experiences, but it was the JRPGs. This is where I became I took the alias RPG Boy 2000, because RPGs just consumed my life. This is where I was introduced to Suikoden. Suikoden was really the game that really opened me up to JRPGs as far as the storytelling is concerned, how deep these stories were, the introduction to the was it the 108 heroes or was it 101 heroes? It was one of those. And the fact is that when characters died, they didn't come back in the story or anything, man. So you had to make these crucial decisions, and the story was just captivating. The combat, the gameplay, and little boy Mugen Lord, man, was just so captivated by Suikoden. And by the way, I also got this just came in the mail earlier today. Suikoden 1 and 2 remastered. Like I said before, remasters today is more important than ever before. Even though I have my games stored away, packed away, man, it's like hooking these games up. I don't have enough room to put any more consoles in here. And besides, I gotta, some of these games are so old, they don't have HDMI ports, so you have to do all this other type of stuff to be able to play them on modern TVs. I still got my tube TVs; they're packed away as well. But yeah, man, it's good to have these remasters so you can be able to play them on current generation consoles, and also for a generation of gamers who never got to play these classics. But I got Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster. Can't wait to dive into this when I get a chance. But yeah, man. Then of course Final Fantasy 7. Love the hell out of that, man. Like that changed my life. I talked about it a shit ton of times on this stream and plenty of other videos of what Final Fantasy 7 has done to me as a gamer. Metal Gear Solid was another great experience. Then of course Star Ocean: The Second Story. My God, man. I don't know what to say, man. Xenogears, bro. And the list goes on and on. Rival Schools. Street Fighter Alpha. Mortal Kombat 3. Mega Man Legends. Alundra 2. It was just, man, it was just crazy. I don't know. You got to look at the Japanese release date. The Japanese release date for Fire Emblem. So I don't know. Fire Emblem may be out. May have been first. Resident Evil 1, Dino Crisis. Yup. Soul Edge. I'm doing good. Just working on Caliber Fighter. Cool. That's good, man. That's cool. It was 108. Okay, yeah, 108. I missed my PS1. It got lost in the move. Jet Moto. Yup. Wipeout. Tobo number 1. I still got my Tobo number 1. Oh, matter of fact, I still got. I thought I packed it. I thought I packed these away, but I forgot. Just want to make sure. I forgot. I didn't even pack this away. I got my Final Fantasy 8. I forgot. Because I left this out by accident. So yeah, when I get a chance, I put that in storage. And I have 2 other ones that I forgot to pack away that I left out by accident. Mega Man Legends right here. My favorite Mega Man. He's my best. This is the best Mega Man for me. Like I grew up playing Mega Man, but I wasn't like a super hardcore fanboy of Mega Man. But I grew up playing Mega Man. He's an iconic character, recognizable. I get excited when I do see Mega Man. But this was my Mega Man. I enjoyed this, man. Mega Man Legends, the action RPG Mega Man. Because like I said, RPG Boy 2000, man. I was the RPG kid during this time. And I loved Mega Man Legends. Love the fuck out of it. And then let's see, go back. Guess what? Going to start my monster phase real soon. Okay. But so I didn't, dude. I missed out on Parasite Eve. Like during that time when Parasite Eve came out, I think Xenogears was coming out, or Xenogears was out during the time. It was one of those games I had to make a choice between Parasite Eve. I think it was Xenogears. I'm not sure. I can't remember. If it was Parasite Eve, then it definitely was Xenogears. If Xenogears was out during that time, if I can remember the dates correctly, I knew I picked Xenogears over that. And I never got, and for some strange reason, I just never went back to go pick it up. I don't know why I never picked it up. And I'm kicking myself in the ass because I really should have got that game during that time because I would have loved it. It was my first Square game and still my favorite game of all time. So guess said Triforce, Guilty Pleasure, Hard Country. That's it. Suikoden 2 is one of my greatest RPGs. I never played Suikoden 2. I got all the Suikodens but that one. I support the remasters, but one thing I can't support is the changing the sensory in the modern audience. Don't forget Mortal Kombat 4. That shit was ass. Mortal Kombat 4. I had it on 64. Mortal Kombat 4. FE came before. Yeah, October number 1. There was a Fire Emblem clone, but Nintendo sued them, I think. Tearing Saga was the PS1 Fire Emblem creator. So my cousin David was a big fan of Mega Man back in the day. You would never get a new Mega Man Legends from Capcom anytime soon. Yeah, my little brother Strike had the Mega Man 64, which was Legends. Have you played second Mega Man Legends game? My brother Keo had the second Mega Man Legends game. By the time PS2 came out, and I wasn't going back playing PS1 games by the time that one came out. All right, so we're going to move on to the next console. The Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn had potential. And this was the only console that didn't have a next generation Sonic game. Sonic actually skipped the Sega Saturn, if you want to be realistic, because the only thing that Sonic had got was a classic collection with all Sonic Sega games and Sonic 3D Blast, but it didn't get a next gen Sonic game. It had potential to be one of my favorite consoles, but a lot of the games, like during the time we got the Sega Saturn was dead here. Sega Saturn was popular in Japan, but Sega Saturn didn't do shit here. It didn't push the pen, it didn't push the thread or the needle at all. The Sega Saturn. So I kind of like, by the time we got it, my dad bought a bunch of games. The only game that I wish I did get was Clockwork Knights. I wish I would have got that. But yeah, I had Virtual Cop, Fighting Vipers, Virtual Fighter 2. What was the other game? I had a lot of X-Men Children of the Atoms. I had about like 12 games. I can't remember the other ones because the other ones was like these really far-fetched games or whatever. But I didn't play Last Bronx. And it was something else too. But the Sega Saturn didn't really catch on in this house. I wasn't really a big fan of the Sega Saturn. It left more to be desired. But it had a potential to be my favorite console because I did play it a lot, but it just wasn't it didn't, in the States, it didn't have a strong library whatsoever. So that's the reason why I didn't stay on it for long. It just did not have a strong library whatsoever in the States. So that's why it had potential, but I can't count it as my favorite console. And I don't really have much to say. I still have these consoles packed away. And the controller was dope. I love the Saturn controller more than I love the PlayStation controller, to be honest with you. The PS1 controller. But also the PS1, I love the PS1 so much. I played it so much where, remember, the PS1 had a problem where your disc, the eye that reads the disc, it's kind of like almost like the red ring of death. It got to the point where it's after a while when you played your PlayStation so much, it couldn't read disc anymore. So you have that. My dad, with his PlayStation, he had to flip it upside down. He had to flip the PlayStation upside down for it to read disc. Mine's wouldn't work that way. I had to actually lay it vertical. I had to lay mine's vertical and stack it in there something to keep it up. Kind of like how you get the PS5 and stuff like that. I had to put it vertical in order for it to read disc over time. And then eventually I got a PlayStation, the little mini one, the white PlayStation, the mini one. And my dad, for my birthday, my parents had bought me the monitor, the screen. So then I was able to carry my PS1 anywhere because it came with a little screen and everything and stuff. So yeah, man, the PS1, man, it was definitely an unforgettable experience. All right, so now we're going to move on to the Nintendo 64. Unforgettable experience. Unforgettable experience, bro. This is the first time we were Panzer Dragoon. I got that too. Panzer Dragoon. Forgot all about that. Yup. Bro. The 64, and I'm going to tell you this story. I know some of you already heard this story, but I'll tell you this story. The Nintendo 64, man, was a whole nother experience. Because now, at this time, now I'm really getting into gaming magazines. Now I'm reading a lot of gaming magazines. Game Informer, Game Pro, PlayStation magazine, Next Generation magazine. My dad's getting all these subscriptions for these magazines and stuff like that. So I'm heavily into gaming. Now my brother Keo is starting to get into gaming now because dad for Christmas, the year that the 64 came out, that's when my dad got Keo his first PlayStation. So now my brother's starting to get away from toys now, and he's now starting to get into video games. So so I remember, man, in the magazine, like my eyes would stay glued to the Next Generation magazine because my eyes were so glued to every page with every look. I'm sinking in looking for everything related to Nintendo 64 because remember the code name was called Ultra 64. It was called the Ultra 64. And I remember it's called Ultra 64, man. And I remember when they first showed Mario 64. Now I'm starting to become a Mario fan because of Mario 64. Like I said, I wasn't really big into Mario. I love Zelda, but I wasn't really big into Mario. But when I seen what Mario 64 looked like, and they start showing off the different things that Mario's able to do. He's able to climb. He's able to swim. He's able to do backflips. I'm seeing all these different images and how massive these worlds are. And it's 3D. And the graphics look at the time like, yo, this looks even better than PlayStation. Like, this is crazy. And then the controller, it looked something from the future. It just looked so weird. And then the thing that got me was this console had four controller ports. Something I've never seen because remember, if you want to play multiplayer, you have to buy an accessory, which is like a multi-tap. Now it's a multi-tap built into the console. So I'm like, yo, this is going to be crazy. And then what blew my mind is when you seen the first early footage or the first early images. This is like the prototype or like the alpha or beta of the next Legend of Zelda game. It wasn't even Ocarina of Time yet. You just saw the traditional NES looking Link with his color scheme and his tunic, but in 3D and stuff like that. And it's showing you what the next Zelda game is going to look like in 3D. And man, when I seen that, like I said, I grew up with Zelda. I'm losing my mind. Now I can't wait for the Ultra 64. So now here we go. You start to see a lot of news reports talking about Nintendo about to drop their new console. PlayStation is dominating at the time. Now they're looking for to see what Nintendo's answer is going to be. Now we got the Nintendo 64 coming out, and it was all over the news that Toys R Us had an exclusive. Toys R Us had an exclusive consoles. They were able to have the console set up. They had all these consoles set up. They had about like 20 different setups at these different at all the Toys R Us stores. So I live in Philly. So we're like a 5 to 8 minute drive from Toys R Us from where I lived at. So when we found out, right, we get in the car. We get straight into the car, and Dad takes me and Keo down to Toys R Us. We get down there, it's a line. Everybody waiting to go up to the Nintendo 64 kiosk. It's all these Mario 64 setups. And I'm just hearing the sound effects. I'm actually hearing Mario. He's talking. He's making sound effects. Because you remember back then on the Super NES and the SNES, the NES and the SNES, all you do is hear the sound effects of Mario and Luigi hopping around. Now this nigga is talking. He's making sound effects. Woohoo! Yahoo! He's doing all these different sound effects and stuff like that. I'm like, is that Mario that I hear? I can hear him. I'm like, is that Mario I can hear? You gotta understand. It's common nowadays for video games to talk and make, for characters to talk in video games. This is mind-blowing for little Mugen Lord at the time. That I'm growing up in the era where now characters are actually making real life sounds, grunts, and they're actually fucking talking. So it's just blowing my mind. I'm like, yo, that can't be Mario. That's not Mario talking or making sounds like this. And when I get get into the store, there it was, all the kiosks set up. We get in line. Now, to let you know, my dad, like I said, my dad spends thousands of dollars in video game stores, like Electronic Boutique and stuff. My dad's like royalty. My family's like royalty every time we step into these game stores because my dad they spend thousands of dollars. So they will break store date for my dad. My dad don't ask them to do that. They would do it because we are like they know the money that my dad spent. They will break store date. So it's this place on South Street called Game Gallery. So while we in line, I finally get to the kiosk. Dad gets to the kiosk, and my little brother Kyo gets to the kiosk. All three of us side by side playing Mario 64. It's the first time holding a 64 controller in my hand. It's the first time that we have an analog stick. We're using a fucking analog stick. Don't even know what that shit is. And it felt so foreign. It felt so confusing. Like, how do you play with this? But it was so genius because now you're in a 3D environment. And like I said, people may clown Nintendo as a kid's console, but Nintendo innovates and Nintendo set trends because once the Nintendo 64 came out with the analog stick, it forced Sony to release the DualShock controller because the DualShock controller wasn't even a thing yet. By the time 64 released and the analog stick was the way to play 3D games, who thinks of stuff like that? In order to move a character in 3D space, they thought about an analog stick. So that's what forced Sony's hand. So Sony came out with the DualShock when the Metal Gear Solid came out. When Metal Gear Solid came out, the DualShock came out. And also, this is during the time once the Rumble Pack came out and everything. So they had the Rumble feature inside the DualShock and stuff. But anyway, so now we're playing the game. Now it's this white woman behind us with her son. So he runs up to the kiosk to start playing. And my dad walked over to us and is like, "Yo, I'm about to call my mans up at Game Gallery. We're gonna find out and see the Nintendo 64." Now, to remind you, Nintendo 64 don't come out into another 2 weeks. So my dad called his man up, was like, "Yo," he said, "Yo, I'm calling to find out if y'all got any Nintendo 64s." He said, "Yo, matter of fact, we only got 2 of them, and we only got 1 game because now remember, Nintendo 64 had a weak ass lineup. They only had 2 games at launch. It was Mario 64 and was Pilot Wings. The all Game Gallery had at the time was only Mario 64 at the time, at that moment. So my dad said, "Yo, you got a 64?" He said, "Yo, we got one, champ." He said, "You want us to hold one for you?" My dad said, "Yo, hold it. We on our way right now." So my dad said, "Yo, come on, son, let's go." My dad grabbed me and my brother Keo. We hop in the car. My dad zooms down there. We go to the South Street. We go into Game Gallery, and right there was the Nintendo 64 or Mario 64. And guess who else came in? Turned around, that white woman I was telling you about. She came in with her son, and my dad was just surprised. And the white woman walked over to my dad and said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just want to make it clear. I apologize for following you guys. I overheard your conversation and about somebody having the Nintendo 64. My son really, really loved it. He gotta have one. I overheard you guys and I followed you guys here." And my dad said, "Oh, don't even worry about it." And she got the 64. So it was only 2. So my dad and the white woman got it. And she gave my dad a hug, started squeezing him and everything. So, "Oh my God, thank you so much." This, that, and the third. Like, so glad I eavesdropped on your conversation and stuff like that. And my God, we got home, man. My dad unboxed the 64. And here it is, man. We got the Nintendo 64 2 weeks before everybody else got the 64, man. It was one hell of an experience. And I'm going to always remember the times that I had because this was the time where now I'm growing up. I'm about to hit my adolescence, preteen stage of my life. And now my cousins are getting older. Now I'm getting better at competitive games and stuff like that. And the 64 was the party era of gaming because now you're able to play multiplayer games in your living room with your friends and your family. And we had some good fucking times on Nintendo 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64 multiplayer, also GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, F-Zero, and of course WCW versus NWO, WWE, and you cannot forget the game that we played the most was Super Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 64. Those were some great moments. And even when it came to the single player experiences, Bomberman Hero was one of my favorite games on the Nintendo 64. Bomberman 64 was another one of my favorite games on the Nintendo 64. I played the shit out of my Nintendo 64. Had so many games on that damn console, man. And then with my 64, when I got my 64, mine came with 2 controllers. Came with the traditional gray controller, and it came with the atomic see-through purple controller. Favorite console. It was one of my favorite consoles, man. and it gave me some of the most unforgettable memories that I've ever had, and had made so many friends. When with the Nintendo 64, I remember in middle school when me and my cousin Tyree was in the same went to the same middle school together. We used to have our friends, and I used to go to Tyree's house, and he didn't have a 64. I had a 64 at the time, and I would bring my 64 over, and I would bring a Super Smash Bros. 64 and bring my 4 controllers over, and me and my friends from school, man. And it was the first time I was actually like, because most friends I got from school, like most of the friends that I had come to my house was friends from the neighborhood that I'd grown up with. I never really had my friends from school come to my house, and, or you know, or hung out with friends from my school outside of school. So it was the first time I was actually hanging with friends out from my school, now outside of school, and I'm at my cousin's house, and all our friends from our school is gathered at his house. Brought my 64 over, man, and we got it the fuck in Super Smash Brothers 64, man. There was some fun, memorable experience, unforgettable experiences. That's why 64 belongs up there. And then, of course, let's check out these comments real quick. Oh yeah, Mario Party. Oh yeah, dog. Mario Party, bro. Mario Party ruins friendships, and it ruins everything, dog. When I say Mario Party 64 was the truth, and especially the first one, I like the first Mario Party game. First Mario Party game was fun. When I say niggas took that shit personal, when I say niggas was ready to throw hands at each other, when I say niggas was ready to fight each other on Mario Party, niggas, it's like Mario Party was equivalent to Monopoly. Like when I played Monopoly with the family, like niggas took Monopoly personally. Like niggas took Monopoly personally. And I would later talk about my Monopoly stories. But niggas used to take Monopoly personal, and Uno personal. But Mario Party had niggas ready to fight, because Mario Party, especially when you collect them damn stars, and you used to get that little knot in your throat, hoping that when you get that little roulette and it determines what it's going to do, if it's going to steal one of your stars and give it to the next player, dude, niggas was ready to fight. Like niggas was literally about to box each other. Like if you wanted to ruin friendships, throw Mario Party in. I forgot. Yeah, Ape Escape was good too. I forgot. See, so many games, man. Like damn, goddamn, the woman followed your day. Don't even feel like go ahead. Never forget Mario Party, but yeah, DualShock 1 hit the military level rumble. So Diddy Kong Racing was the best. Yup. Me and my brothers, Mario Party, that game destroyed friendships. Yeah, dog. Shit. Yeah, man. So Mario's a squabble starter. Yeah, dog. Mario Party. I'm not lying to you guys. Like niggas, like my cousins and like friends, they was literally fighting, like punching each other in the face and shit like they do. Or niggas be like sitting there when they get the star stolen, they would sit there and stare at the screen, and their eyes be all watery, and next thing you know, tears coming out their eyes and shit like that. Like niggas, like we took Mario Party serious. Like it was a personal thing. Especially when niggas start double teaming you, like when niggas start coming for you in Mario Party, like double teaming you and shit, and they pretend that they're not jumping you and shit like that, dude. Mario Party would end friendships, dog. Yup. Facts, lordship. Certainly never owned N64. Was certainly like to. Dude, get GoldenEye. He said that chance times many games just cause fights. Yup. Ape Escape maybe at like Frieza, no more Mogies. And Donkey Kong 64, bro. I don't know. Rare was on a whole nother level. Rare was on a whole nother level when it came to platformers. Even Nintendo wasn't fucking with Rare. Even though I like Mario 64, Rare was like on a whole nother level when it came to multiplayer. No, not multiplayer, but platformers. Because Banjo-Kazooie was a pretty tough game, but goddamn, Donkey Kong 64, bro. My parents got me that for Christmas. Never beat that game. Never fucking beat that game. That was the hardest fucking platform I've ever beat. Even my parents bought me a strategy guide for that fucking game. Never finished it. My cousin beat it, but I never finished it. And then I let Strike play because now he's old enough and now he's getting into games. Strike. And he finally got a 64 eventually, and he started playing Donkey Kong 64. Bro, that game was so challenging. The level designs, the music, and the puzzle solving in that game was fucking ridiculous. Never finished it. Just take Donkey Kong Country difficulty and just take it to a whole nother level with Donkey Kong 64. Even the multiplayer, the 4-player multiplayer was fun. Donkey Kong 64 was hard as fuck, bro. So yeah, I cut my teeth on early 3D platforms with DK64. Still haven't beaten it. Yeah, I never beat it. I never beat Donkey Kong 64. Never beat it, man. The Jack in the Box fight got me stuck in 64. Oh, I beat Bomberman 64. That game was hard as hell because the game wasn't a platformer. So you had to come up with creative ways to kick your bombs so you can be able to jump on your bombs to get on other platforms. I never got to unlock all of the special costumes to customize your Bomberman, but I did beat Bomberman 64. It took me a while though. So I played Rare Replay. Kazooie was awesome, but Tooie not as great. It's that fight scared me as a kid. Yeah, Donkey Kong. I was scared of those banana fairies. I don't know what it was, but I was scared of those banana fairies. They used to freak me out. It said, I feel sorry for you. I've beaten that Donkey Kong myself. Gotten 110%. Fiend. My favorite racing game was from N64 Mario Kart Cruising USA. I couldn't get into Cruising USA. I thought it was whack. Legend. Bomberman Hero was the most played. And yeah, that was my most played game. That's the only game in my life that I 100% it. Besides, no, I 100% Mario 64. I got all the stars. I got all 120 stars. I 100% it 64, Mario 64, and I 100% Bomberman Hero. Yo, what's up, Death Metal? What's going on? I couldn't really get into Conker's Bad Fur Day. I couldn't get into that. Have I played? My brother got Glover. Strike, he got that. I a fucking glove. But the concept is neat, but a fucking glove. All right, so if we want to move on to the next one. Let's see. All right, now we're starting to move on. All right, so I'm going in the order of when the consoles came out and when I experienced them. So the next console, guys, we about to do it. The next console, the Sega Dreamcast, and this is number one. Is in the number one top spot. Dreamcast was the most unforgettable experience ever in my life. This brought back the fanboy, the Sega fanboy that I was, because I thought it was dead. After the Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn had potential, but it did nothing for me. But Sega was back, baby. Sega was fucking back. And let me rearrange this tier. Let me rearrange the top, or whatever. There we go. Oh no. There we go. The Sega Dreamcast revived the fanboyism of Sega. It revived the fanboyism of Sega that was just dormant within me because of the disappointment of the Sega Saturn, the disappointment of the Sega 32X. And every day, I was counting down the days of when my parents was going to get the Sega Dreamcast. I got it that year. I got it launch year. And it was a Christmas gift. My parents bought it for me on launch day, but I couldn't play it until Christmas. It was a Christmas present, so I couldn't play it on launch day at all. Dude, I was counting down the days of the Sega Dreamcast. My eyes was about to pop out when I first saw Sonic Adventure in a game magazine. Finally got to see Sonic and fully realized 3D effects, graphics, and everything. And 128 bits. Something I couldn't even imagine. Like adolescence me couldn't even imagine that. And the fact is that we got a chance to see Mario in 3D, but I was like, when are we going to see a Sonic in 3D? And when I saw that in the magazine, then they started showing commercials, like little quick commercials. You see like a little glimpse where you see Sonic running and the killer whales behind him. I'm like, whoo, whoo. I'm pointing at the commercial, and it's just going by, so you couldn't really see it for a long time. And my God, man. And I remember going to Blockbusters. Yes, Blockbusters was a thing back then. Paris is the Blockbuster because we was renting a movie from Blockbusters, and Dreamcast wasn't out yet. They had a Dreamcast kiosk, and there it was, Sonic Adventure. And I went over there, and when I went over there, the controller wasn't working. The controller was broke, so I couldn't even play it. So all I do is just stare at the demo, the kiosk demo of Sonic Adventure, and couldn't even play the damn thing. I was fucking pissed as an adolescent at that time. So fucking pissed. Couldn't even play it. It was right there in my grasp. Couldn't even play it. But I got just to feel what the controller felt like. And it just felt beautiful. So here we go. I talked about it already, so I won't go over it again. But Christmas time came. And when Christmas came, man, this Christmas right here was one of the most unforgettable Christmas, and there was never a Christmas. All my Christmas was awesome, but nothing would ever top the Sega Dreamcast. The year the Sega Dreamcast came out in Christmas of 1999. Nothing still to this day will ever top Christmas of 1999, because it's crazy how with the Dreamcast, we were stepping into a whole new era of gaming as far as technology and visuals are concerned, and gameplay, where it was like a major leap. You're jumping from 32-bit and 64-bit, and now you're jumping all the way to the 128-bit. It was a major leap where you was able to distinguish, you was able to tell the difference between power and consoles at that time. It was a graphical leap. And can you imagine just being an adolescent, and you had that opportunity, and your parents was able to buy you a Sega Dreamcast, and you was the first adopter to adopt this next generation of consoles. And then you had a full lineup. And I keep telling you guys, Sega would have beat Sony if they would have waited a year. They should have just waited a year, because the PS2 launch was trash. The Dreamcast launch was fucking phenomenal. If they would have waited one more year and seen what the competition did, because what killed the Dreamcast, check this out, guys. You're not going to believe, there's two things that killed the Dreamcast. Two things that killed it. One, it didn't have a DVD player. The PS2 had a DVD player, because you remember back then, DVD players, you had to have money. You was considered rich if you had a DVD player. But the PS2 had a DVD player, which made it a cheaper DVD, a cheaper alternative to get a DVD player. And not only that, since it was a DVD player, it was a strategy that Sony had figured out. Let's put it in music stores like FYE, Tower Records. So music stores was now holding and carrying PS2s. And they were showcasing The Matrix, because The Matrix came out at this time. You was able to watch The Matrix on your PS2. And here's the second thing, guys. Here's the second thing that killed the Dreamcast. EA. EA killed Dreamcast. What do I mean by EA killed Dreamcast? Well, EA had approached Sega. And remember, this was EA when EA was EA back then. EA approached Sega and said, listen, we want to be the only ones to be exclusive. No other sports can be on your console but us. And Sega dumbass turned EA down. You have to remember, Madden, NBA 2, was it NBA, whatever was it, the NBA Live, was it NBA Live? But Madden was the best was the best sports game. EA was a multi-billion-dollar franchise with their sports games. EA Sports was a multi-billion-dollar franchise. like I said, when a new Madden came out, like stores were shut down. Stores were shut down. It was equivalent to Grand Theft Auto releases. EA said, "Yo, we want to be the home of EA Sports. And no other sports can be on the Dreamcast but our sports. If you allow that, you got us." And Dreamcast turned down EA Sports. And Sega said, "No, we're going to make our own sports," which was the 2K games, NBA 2K, NFL 2K. And don't get me wrong, those are some good sports games. I'm not a sports guy, but my dad used to buy the sport because my dad didn't play sports, but my uncles would come around and my cousins that like sports. So my dad would buy it. So when they came over, they played some sports games. But I ain't gonna lie, the NBA 2K, the NFL 2K, and the NHL 2K was some pretty damn good sports games. I'm not a sports guy. I don't really do sports. I don't really know a lot of the teams and the players and stuff. But they said they gave EA the middle finger, and they said we'll create our own sports, or our Sega sports. And even though the Sega sports were pretty good, it wasn't up there with EA. And because they turned EA down, that's what destroyed them. That's what killed them. That was the linchpin that killed the Sega Saturn. But the Sega Saturn was that console, man. Now I'll tell you about my Christmas. As I said before, I was the first adopter, along with my dad, because my dad got Dreamcast that Christmas too. I got Sonic Adventure, Soul Calibur, Ready to Rumble, Power Stone, Marvel vs. Capcom 1, a Dreamcast arcade stick, an extra Dreamcast controller, and a VMU controller. And Blue Stinger for Dreamcast. And did I mention Power Stone? Yeah, I already mentioned Power Stone. That was my Christmas right there. Best fucking Christmas. Best Christmas ever. I was a blessed kid. Dude, I remember turning on my Dreamcast, and I love the splash screen, man. That soothing sound of when the Dreamcast logo and the swirl comes up and everything. So soothing, man. It just take me back to my childhood and stuff. But as I said before, man, when I popped in Sonic Adventure, bro, and I couldn't believe what I saw. The graphics was on a whole nother level. And I didn't even think it was a Sonic event. I didn't even think it was a Sonic game. Because look at too realistic. I'm seeing humans and stuff like that. And I seen the city. I see Station Square. Then, waters is flooding the place. And then chaos come out. And then the Crush 40 come on. Open your heart. And then it got a nice rock soundtrack to it, dude. Everything about Sonic Adventure, which is fucking amazing. And I loved every bit of the fucking Dreamcast, man. Power Stone, all of those games. And then as the console as more games started coming out with the console, I have Zombie Revenge, Toy Commander, Choo Choo Rocket, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi. They had their own Resident Evil game called Carrier. That was actually a pretty good game. Carrier. Let's see. Was it Fur Fighters? It was just it was so many fucking games, bro. So many games. So many fucking games, bro. And then once Project Justice, and then eventually Sonic Adventure 2 came out, man, and Phantasy Star, man. Phantasy Star was something else. And Quake 3 Arena. Quake 3 Arena was that fucking game. I used to get the fuck in on that game, man. That was just something, man. That was just a beautiful console, man. And I still got my Dreamcast. I still think about my Dreamcast. And I want to get what I'm going to do is I want to keep that one packed away because I don't want to touch that one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy another Dreamcast off the internet to have that one set up while I have my other one encased. I want to encase it like a museum. You know what I'm saying? My original Dreamcast. But man, it was just one of those console experiences that I'll never forget, man. And this is during time now, I'm going around my friend's house, and I built a lot of friendships from, especially when I transferred to a new school or whatever like that. And the Dreamcast I formulated a lot of friendships from the Dreamcast because I met a lot of friends. John DeMarco, Michael Palmieri, and Maurice Bishop. A lot of them guys, man. I met them guys. It was in the same class, seventh grade, and they had a Dreamcast, man. And I remember us talking about the Dreamcast, and that's how we formulated their friendships with each other. And Michael Palmieri and John DeMarco, and then would invite me to their house, and we just play Dreamcast like all evening. And their parents used to buy pizza, wings, and stuff for us and stuff. Those were some times, man. Those were some times with those guys back when I was in middle school when the Dreamcast came out. I love that console, and that would be number one. There's nothing topping that one. There's nothing topping that. That's number one. Nothing's going on the unforgettable tear. Dreamcast is number one. You're not topping it. Nothing's going to ever top it. All right, so now we're going to move on. The same way Nintendo turned down Sony. Wasn't EA pissed at Sega for killing all the Saturn as they started making games? I think so. It's in the game, dude. I didn't care for Daytona racing, NFL Blitz, MV2K, Dreamcast was God. Like, yeah, Virtua Tennis. Love Virtua Tennis. Guys didn't have any Madden or any eating sport. Yup, that's what killed them. They didn't have no EA. Also, a lack of dev kit. But that didn't play a major part. Because Sega, when Sega Dreamcast came out, it dominated. It was sold out. Like it did really, really well. And then Sony came in and kicked his ass. Like all because of a DVD player. And the fact is that EA, they turned down EA. They gave EA the middle finger. This is what killed the Dreamcast. I thought the burning disc. No, never even heard of the burning disc. House of the Dead. Yup, House of the Dead, Blue Sting. Yup. Also, Sega constantly released new products, but never fully committed to them. Yup. They always did that. Anyway, look. All right, Blaze. They developed Blitz. The PS was the shit. Yup. Though I didn't play that version. I had both Dreamcast versions. Yup. Skies Arcade. I got that too. Bro, you can still play Quake 3 Arena online, the Dreamcast as well. Oh wow, that is insane. True Land, and they were supposed to do a whole system for the 32X, but didn't decide to add on. Yes. Unreal. We about to get into Unreal Tournament in a second. All right, so now we're about to get into PS2. We about to get to the next console. PS2 is one of my favorite consoles. It's not. It didn't give me no unforgettable. It wasn't like my unforgettable experience with the PS2. It was one of my favorite consoles though. PS2 had a weak launch. I was kind of disappointed when the PS2 first came out because the PS2, I got it at launch. Me and my dad got it at launch, but I couldn't play mine until Christmas. I got mine at launch, but I couldn't play it until Christmas. When the PS2 came out, I remember for Christmas, I had Orphan. That game was ass. I had Dead or Alive. I had it was Dead or Alive 2 for the PS2. What else did I had? Dynasty Warriors 2 and Time Splitters. And you know what the crazy thing was? I Unreal Tournament. The game that I played the most, and here's the thing. When PS2 came out and I got it on Christmas, I was still playing my Dreamcast more than my PS2. And guess what? Even on my PS2, I was still playing PS1 games on it. Yo, PS2 had such a hard time to start. PS2 had a rough start, man. And it had an anti-alias. Certain PS2 had to do recalls. It had an anti-alias issue. Because I remember, like, Dead or Alive 2 sucked. The Dead or Alive 2 edition for PS2, that shit sucked. And it had so many jagged edges. Like the anti-aliasing and everything on that game was garbage. That was the only game ever in my life, only game that I ever remember returning. My dad took that back to the store. We got another game instead. But it was horrible. Like Dead or Alive 2 was horrible on the PS2. The Dreamcast version is way superior. Dreamcast version of Dead or Alive 2 was a superior version. Dynasty Warriors was pretty cool at first. It was my first Muso's game, and the whole gimmick was having a bunch of characters on the screen at one time. But I got bored. Like after playing for 5 hours, I got bored of it. So I didn't play. I didn't get that far in it. Played for a couple hours, never turned it back on. Time Splitter. It took time for me to grow on me because for some strange reason, the game moved super fast. Like the movement speed for Time Splitters, it felt so weird. It like for all the first person shooters that I played in the past, this was a weird game. Like how it moved, how it played. And we also had a PS2 multi-tap as well. But the game that I played the most at the time on my PS2 was Unreal Tournament. That Christmas, I still played my Dreamcast the most, and Final Fantasy 9 came out. So I was playing more so Final Fantasy 9 on my PS2 at the time. Because all the other games, like PS2, like library of games was so fucking weak at its launch that I didn't really touch my PS2 games. I played them on and off. The only game I played the most was Unreal Tournament because my dad had Unreal Tournament. I had Unreal Tournament, my uncle, my cousins. So at game night, we used to bring our controllers, had the multi-tap, and play Unreal Tournament competitively and stuff. But PS2 started out really, really rough. And so I was like starving for a new PS2 games because the games were coming out really, really slow. It was like the PS2 had a whole drought period of games, like waiting for games. So PS2, like PS2 started really kicking up when the Bouncer came out. Because I was anticipating the Bouncer. That was the game. And remember, the PS2 had the pressure sensitive buttons where when you hold the button down, you press the PS2 button hard, and you press down, your character would do like a different input on the Bouncer. So it took advantage of that technology at the time with the DualShock 2 controller. And I remember getting the Bouncer, and the Bouncer was okay. It ended up not being like they were like I mean, Sony was like, I mean, Square was really hyping this game up, and the game was okay. I liked it for what it was. It was created by Dream Factory too, and Tetsuya Nomura, the character designs, you can see it all in there. With the Bouncer, Dream Factory, the people who made Tobal #1, and you can tell because all he did was copy and paste move sets from Grin, Shiji, and a couple other characters. They copied and pasted their move set and gave it to Sion, Kolefo, and what's the other character? What's the and Vault or whatever like that. They just copy and paste the move set from Tobal and give it to the characters. But the PS2, I played my PS2, but I didn't really play it that much. I got RPG Maker 2 for the PS2. I had got the Xenosaga series. That I put countless of hours in that. And my God, I love Arc the Lad. Was it Twilight? What's it called? Twilight of Darkness, I think it was called. Arc the Lad was fucking good, man. Great JRPG. Great fucking game. And I've also got Final Fantasy X, X2, which was a disappointment. Grand Theft Auto 3. What else? Metal Gear Solid 2. But no, man, I didn't really play my PS2 as much. And the reason why I didn't play my PS2 as much because that's when the next console came, which was one of my favorite consoles, the Nintendo GameCube. Nintendo GameCube is what made me let me put this in the front of the PS2. Nintendo GameCube took over. Like once the Nintendo GameCube came out, I stopped playing my PS2. I wouldn't say stop. I played it less. I played my PS2 less once the GameCube came out. GameCube took over. That was my console. That was my console for that generation, the GameCube. I had a lot of PS2 games, but it did not compete with the Nintendo GameCube. That was like my favorite, like one of my favorite consoles of that generations. And they had a lot of gems, a lot of games. And I would say that the GameCube was like the underdog because the GameCube was the console that was always teased because of the color, its shape, it had the small disc, and Nintendo always does shit like this. They did the small disc because they wanted to avoid piracy, or whatever like that. Because back in the day, you was able to burn discs back in the day, and stuff like that. You was able to burn discs and copy games and stuff like that. And they wanted to avoid that, so they made small discs to avoid that, which also was a pain in the ass for developers as well. But there was a lot of games on there, man, that was so underappreciated, man. Tales of Symphonia. Of course, I love Super Smash Bros. Melee, Metroid Prime, the first Pikmin game, Batman Vengeance, which was the animated series. What else? Star Fox Dinosaur Planet, and let's not start, yo. Phantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2 for the Nintendo GameCube. I put about 800 hours into that shit. Four players. Man, my cousins used to come to my house after school during school days, during school nights, and we used to put clock in hours. Me, Keo, my cousin Dave, and then my little brother Strike will play with us. And that game was fucking awesome. I love Phantasy Star episodes 1 and 2. Billy Hatcher, I got for GameCube. What else? Star Fox Assault. Mario Strikers was fucking dope, man. Mario Strikers was fucking awesome. Love that damn game. Mario Kart Double Dash. And of course, man, Legends of the Wind Waker. I talked about it before. I won't go through it, the whole spiel again. But that game changed my life, man. That game definitely changed my life. And it proved me wrong because I was a hater of that game. Because of how cartoony it looked compared to the tech demo that GameCube had of Legend of Zelda. But it won me over, man. It won my heart. It stole my heart, man. An unforgettable experience on that system. And then, of course, Resident Evil 1 remake, Resident Evil 4. And the list goes on and on with the Nintendo GameCube, man. I got my favorite controller was the orange GameCube controller. I had the platinum controller, the black controller. I had a bunch of GameCube controllers, and Mario Sunshine. And my favorite controller, and Nintendo always does it, man. The Wavebird was my favorite GameCube controller. Now, when it came to the Wavebird, which was the wireless GameCube controller, and I had Eternal Darkness too. I bought that with Mario Sunshine. I bought the Mario Sunshine, the Wavebird, and Eternal Darkness at the same time. I bought all three of those together because this is during time now. I got an actual summer job and stuff like that. I got an actual summer job, and now I'm able to earn my own money and stuff like that. So I was able to buy my own console, and that was the first console that I ever purchased with my own money was the Nintendo GameCube. So yes, I'm hitting that teen. I'm a teenager now. I'm still not old enough to actually work a job, but I'm old enough to work a summer job. And also now, my dad will buy games for me, but now that I'm a teenager, now I have to start. I'm becoming a young man. So my dad now he said, "Yo, yeah, I'm not gonna just buy you games. You want to work for it." Like I said, my dad's a carpenter. He's a contractor. So whenever I wanted a game on Dreamcast or I wanted whatever game I wanted, I had to go to work with dad. I had to carry all his tools. Help him put up the drywall and stuff like that, and help him, using the screw guns and stuff like that. So if I wanted to get it, I had to work for it. So dad would take me out on his jobs, on his contracts, and I would work with dad, and then dad would pay me, and then I would take that money and I will buy a game, and then dad would take me to McDonald's, take me and my brother to McDonald's or whatever like that. So me and my brother Q had to go with him. So we had to earn it. So it's no longer just dad just outright buying games. He would still do it. He would more so do it for Christmas for us. But now we're getting older. Dad's teaching us how to become men. So now, it was no more just buying this game. We had to work for it. So yeah. So that was my first console that I earned. I earned it myself. I went out and worked the summer job, at my school and stuff as a camp counselor and stuff. So I was saving that money up for my GameCube. And my dad said, "Son, if you get up to enough, I'll go half with you." But he never had to go half with me because I earned enough. Because my dad said he'll put the other half to it. Because he wanted to teach me how to earn and stuff like that. So he said, "Just meet me halfway." But I ended up superseding it. So dad was proud of me. I was able to go out and buy my own console. And what made me definitely proud was because once I got to GameStop, not GameStop, Electronic Boutique, because GameStop still wasn't a thing yet. It was still Funkoland. When I got there, we found out that you couldn't buy the console in a game. You had to get it in a bundle pack, which caught me off guard, which means I had to get the console and I had to get a controller, an extra controller, a memory card, and 3 games. And what was so surprising was that I was able to afford all 3 games, the console, the memory card, and the controller, because I worked the summer job and worked with dad, and I saved all that money. And dad was proud of me. He was very, very proud of me that I was able to earn that myself and stuff. You becoming the man, So Yeah, the GameCube, man, was I had the most. It was my favorite console, man. Favorite console. I stayed up late nights, with the Nintendo GameCube, man. Like you could never keep me away from that console, man. I'll be in school thinking about the GameCube. Couldn't wait. And I remember it felt so good buying the console with my own hard earned money. Dad didn't buy it for me. I bought it myself, and it felt so good. That's why I think I cherished it even more, the GameCube even more, because it was something that I bought myself. And I remember sitting it on my bed, man, just looking at the box, because all I did was look at Next Generation magazine all day, looking at the GameCube 2. I'm able to burn a hole through the page because I couldn't wait to get my hands on this console. And the main reason why I couldn't wait to get my hands on the console was Smash Brothers Melee. Like, I was a big Smash Brothers fan. But now I got the console. I didn't even plug it up right away. I just sat on the bed and and got on my knees and just looked at the console, looking at the box. And I'm like, yo, like, I bought this myself and I'm about to experience this console. And the 3 games that I got was, what was it? Super Monkey Ball. And remember, you had to pick 3 games. The rest of the other games, I wasn't. They had Dave Mara, BMX, that sports games. Wasn't into all that. So I got Luigi Mansion, Super Monkey Ball, and And I'm not really a Star Wars gamer, so I got Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Was it 2? And believe it or not, it was actually a good fucking game. Caught me by surprise. And you got a third-party GameCube controller with a memory card or whatever. And that third-party controller was ass though. But nonetheless, I had an extra controller. And I remember sitting down playing it, and out of all 3 of the games, Super Monkey Ball took me by surprise. I had no idea how fun that fucking game is. Super Monkey Ball is actually a fun fucking game. I didn't think I was going to like that game at all, but they accomplished it. It pulled me in. I became a fan of Super Monkey Ball. And then, of course, Luigi Mansion. I beat Luigi Mansion. It was an okay game. It wasn't one of my favorite games. And then when Christmas came, mom and dad had bought me Pikmin. And no, I bought Pikmin myself. And my parents bought me Smash Bros. Melee. Bought me Smash Bros. Melee for Christmas, and I got a couple of PlayStation 2 games and in the PS1 game, which was Tales of Destiny that year, that Christmas year. But yeah, man, I think I resonate more with the GameCube because it was my first console that I've ever bought with my own money. Yeah, Super Monkey Ball was hard as shit. And if you learned how to master the shortcuts, it was just crazy. You don't see that. My uncle stole my mom's clarinet when she was still in marching band and pawned it. Which only means nobody needs to pawn that shit behind your back. At least you still live with your family at the time. Which only means nobody just pawn. No. Let me tell you something. Like, I was blessed to have family that it wasn't like that. Like, my cousins. I had friends and I had cousins. I had friends and especially I had friends and I had cousins. One of my cousins, he couldn't keep his consoles home because his brothers would steal his console. They would steal it, they would sell it, and it was just sad. So he would have to keep his console in his backpack because his own friends and his own cousins, his own siblings would steal his shit. They would steal it. They would steal it from him. And like I said, that was the only thing that he had that made him happy. I used to feel so bad for him because like everything was going bad in his life. The only thing that made him happy was his game console. And his family, like his siblings and his cousins and them, they used to steal his shit every fucking time. So it got to the point where he had to keep it in his book bag and he had to leave it. He had to leave it at our house so nobody wouldn't steal it from him. He used to carry his PlayStation to school, his PS2 to school. He had to carry his console to school every time, or he would bring it to our house because his family would steal it from him. You know what I'm saying? It was that I used to feel so bad. I used to feel so bad for him, man. I almost cried at times because everything bad was going on in his life. He had a bad childhood and everything, and the only way he's able to escape reality was his game console. It was his game console that made him happy, and his own family used to steal his shit and sell his shit and do all kinds of shit, and then they would steal it and then pretend to look for it for him. Like they would act like they didn't take it from him and stuff like that. And then one time he found out that he stole it. He found it in their room, or he found it over their friend's house with his games and stuff like that. So he would keep it in his book bag to make sure nobody would take it, and then he would take it at our house and leave it there, and then he would come pick it up whenever he wanted to go get it and stuff. But I used to feel so sorry for him, because that was the only thing that made him happy, was his game console. And then he used to work every day, bust his ass to get whatever the latest console was, and that was the shit that made him happy. It was just so sad. Some of the worst people in Flint, Detroit. And I tell my dad her last when we met. Damn. Yeah, I feel bad for him. Yeah, yep, very rough. I know exactly how that fucking feels, except I had experience as a younger man. I know that feels. That's messed up. Yeah. It's sad. My brother stole my games. At least they didn't sell the console. Yeah, that kind of sucks to grow up around. Yeah, he had a bad upbringing, man. And I used to feel so fucking sorry for him. Let's see. So then the Xbox, the original Xbox, man. Another favorite one of my consoles. This is during a time, man, like now America is back, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like Microsoft is in. I'm gonna do a video on this talking about my experience with the Microsoft with the Xbox. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail. But this was it, man. Like the West is back. The West is back, baby. We about to compete against, Japanese consoles now, man. American pride all the way. You know what I'm saying? That American pride. And when they came out with the Xbox, man, it was a whole new. Microsoft changed the game, and people don't give Microsoft credit. They changed it for the good and for the bad. A lot of things changed, and I want to save it for a video. I don't want to go through too many details. But man, the West was back, and the West was kicking, man, when the Xbox came out. And it was the first console that had a built-in hard drive. That boy was heavy, and that boy was beefy, man. And it had some great games on that console. And it was one of my favorite consoles. And on top of that, man, Sega, man, like at the Dreamcast is going, you know what I'm saying? And when I first saw the Xbox or whatever, I remember when I first saw the wait 1 second. Oh, it's my artist. Hold up. Woo. Yeah, I remember I first saw the Xbox, right? And in the newspaper, I was in class with my friends, and I was in 8th grade. And the console didn't come out until I was in 9th grade. The GameCube and Xbox didn't come out until I was in 9th grade. But they revealed it when I was in 8th grade. And I remember I saw the Xbox and they showed the Duke controller, and it looked like a Dreamcast controller. It looked like the Dreamcast controller, and you did to put memory cards at the top. And I said, "Yo, they bringing back the." And when I found out that Sega had an exclusive deal for the first Xbox, the original Xbox, and sequels to a lot of my favorite Dreamcast games were now home to the Xbox. I said, "Wait a minute, is this pretty much the Dreamcast too?" And I said, "Yo, Sega is back, baby, but it's with Microsoft." I said, "Oh my God." So I knew right then and there that I had to. And this is for the PC. You can now get these on the PC as well. So you can connect and play some games on it and stuff like that. Hold up 1 second. My artist again. Hold up. One second, guys. One sec, guys. Oh, because character design is what causes you right there. Yeah. All right. So sorry about that. It was character design for VK. All right. So yeah. So the Xbox was just something else. It was phenomenal. And then on top of that, it has 4 controller ports. 4. So you already know my experience with the Nintendo 64. You know with the 64, man, the shit that we was experiencing. Now we about to get an even better experience into the next generation with the Xbox and now with a Western console and stuff. And man, we had some of the most memorable moments, man. Like especially when we found out you was able to connect multiple Xboxes, not 2 consoles, 4 Xbox consoles. That was sick, especially for its time. So we used to do a lot of LAN parties with Halo, which was awesome, man. And also, what Microsoft had forgot, man. Microsoft, the original Xbox, had a lot of couch co-op games, like co-op games, and they even had more co-op games than Nintendo 64 than Nintendo had. And it seemed like they got away from that a little bit. I remember Brute Force. Brute Force is my fucking game on the Xbox. And they had so many different games that they had on there, and they introduced voice chat. Like I said, I want to go through all the details because I want to say that for a video itself, because there's a lot of stuff I want to express about my relationship with the Xbox brand, starting at the very beginning and stuff. But man, the Def Jam Vendetta Def Jam Fight for New York was my fucking game. Like I said, the Halo, Jet Set Future, Shenmue 2, Gun Valkyrie, which was another Sega game, which was also pretty awesome. Blanks the Cat. Man, it was so much potential. It was so much potential there. The Dead or Alive games, so it was Dead or Alive 3, and then the Dead or Alive collection, which came with Dead or Alive 1 and 2. It was like a one remake, and then it came with 2, a new edition of part 2 with online features. Crimson Skies, Mech Assault, Unreal Championship, and the list goes on, man. And it just had that multiplayer fun, that fun factor that just kept making me come back for more. And then my favorite platform, Vex, that was made by Acclaim. And Acclaim is back, by the way. I want to talk about that in the video at some point. And hopefully Vex does come back. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, man, I had some cherishing moments, and that was also one of my favorite consoles as well. Let's see, we got. Make sure Dear Alive the stream. Didn't really care for a stream. I didn't like a stream. Crimson Skies, yep. Mega Assault, Delta Force, yep. Splinter Cell franchise, yep. I originally thought the Xbox was a Sega console, but I found out it was Microsoft. Everybody thought it was a Sega console. Linked to L Blue J while kicking ass on my Dodge Viper MC3. Blood Rain, yup, Blood Rain. I cannot stand damn touchpad on the PlayStation controller. I remember Tony Hawk's Underground on Xbox. Yeah, good times, man. Good times. Did you play DOA? Nah, I played it. Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball. Like I said, I like Dead or Alive. I love fan service, but games that's just fan service, I don't care for them. I like to play video games. I like my games to have substance. And Dead or Alive Volleyball was, and the thing was, I didn't buy the volleyball. My cousin had bought the Dead or Alive Volleyball, so I was like, cool. I want to see what the game is like, because if I end up liking the game, I'll buy it myself. I'm not really a sports game person. But if it's an arcade sports, if it played like an arcade sports like how Sega create their Virtuous Tennis and a lot of their arcade sports, I was like, if it plays like an arcade sports game, like an arcade volleyball game, then I'll love to play it, because now it got my favorite Dead or Alive girls in it. So one day I went around his house and he had the Dead or Alive volleyball. I remember he turned it on the DOA Extreme, and he turned it on and we played it, and the volleyball game itself was ass. I said, yo, this game is not fun. We sat there quiet. We just sit there quiet playing it. And they showed me the mini games. And then he's like, you want to play something else? I'm like, yeah, I want to play something else. The game was not good. It's just pure, and it's meant for that. It's just pure, it's meant for that audience who like the fan service, but it was not a volleyball game. It was not a volleyball game. So I don't care for the extreme games at all. It said Mugen Lord, the Warriors. Yeah, my little brother has that. Strike has the Warriors game by Rockstar. It was pretty good. Driver, I remember on PS1 the game Driver. Online revived. OG Xbox Online got revived. It's called Xbox Kai Fan Live. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to all the original games online. Oh wow, that's crazy. Versus Mercs. Ever played Rumble Roses? Nope, never played Rumble Roses. I've seen Rumble Roses, but never played it. Jiggle Factor, Beach Volleyball, and No One Lives Forever. Halo Classic. Yeah, man. That was the console, man. All right, so now we're about to move on to the next generation of consoles. No, not yeah. We got to move on to the next generation of consoles. Want to make sure before I move on, make sure I ain't missing nothing. Okay, the next console that I bought next, and this is unforgettable, Xbox 360. Xbox 360, man, that made me an Xbox believer. Wait. I may have to change that. It's gonna be hard. Yeah, I'll put this here. Yeah, I'll put this here. The Xbox 360, man, that was my go-to console. I was like, I got a PS3, but I was like, fuck the PS3. My PS3 collected dust. My PS3 was collecting dust. I still got PS3 games that's still in the plastic. I bought, but it's in the plastic and never opened. My PS3 collected dust. 360 was where it was at. It was an unforgettable experience because they took the Xbox Live experience to the next level with the Xbox 360. And like I said before, I don't want to go into too many details because I want to save a lot of this for my upcoming video where I talk about the Xbox itself and my relationship with it and the brand recognition that it had and how it shaped the gaming industry and stuff. So I'm gonna save it for that. But I will say this, man. I'm like a teenager about to be a young adult. You know what I'm saying? Well, when 360 came out, no. My fault. When 360 came out, I was in college. I was a freshman in college. My fault. I'm adult now. I'm an adult now. I'm like 18 years old in college, freshman year, when the Xbox 360 came out. I'm gonna get that right. Yeah, so I'm in college, freshman year, and it was some of the most unforgettable experiences, man. They took the Xbox Live experience and took it to a whole nother level, man. Especially with the Xbox Live arcade class, the classes that they had. Man, the ecosystem and everything, man. I made so many friends with the Xbox 360. So many friends I would look forward to. After coming out of class, I would run to my dorm room. And man, I would hop on, man, and just chat it up with my friends. Sometimes we wouldn't even play video games. Sometimes we just be in the party chat and just being stupid, just being friends and stuff like that. But a lot of my multiplayer fun was from there. And all my friends and family, even at the time when I started, and this is also the time and the mark of when I started my YouTube channel and stuff. Mugen Lord came to be. When the Xbox 360 and the PS3 and the Wii came around. This is where I started my YouTube channel. This is when I first meet my baby mom. Everything was going on. I was like my life. I'm becoming a man. I'm becoming of myself. At this time, it was so much things going on in my life at this time when the Xbox 360 came out. You know what I'm saying? And I enjoyed every last bit of it. And I remember those moments that I had with you guys on YouTube, my Xbox Live gatherings with the Xbox 360. You know what I'm saying? It also made me fall in love with the fighting game genre. This is when I started really getting into fighting games. Got my first arcade stick. This was the era, man. And I also got my JRPGs: Star Ocean, The Last Remnant, Infinite Undiscovery, Lost Odyssey. Man, it was some great moments on the Xbox 360 that I really enjoyed and loved every last bit of it, man. And I thought it was going to get even better from here, man. With the Xbox 360, when I seen that Devil May Cry was coming for Xbox 360, I knew Sony was in trouble because Sony PS3 had a rocky start. It had even a worse start than the PS2. PS3 had the worst start, and it started losing Japanese third developers exclusives. Now the 360 was getting third-party games. It got Devil May Cry, and it really got me when they announced that Tekken 6 was also coming to Xbox 360. So now they lost that as an exclusive. Sony was just losing third-party exclusives, and now Xbox was getting those exclusives. And then the Xbox had superior third-party ports. You couldn't beat it. Yeah, I didn't get the Red Ring of Death until much later. It's like 3 years later into my life of the 360 and everything. Great console, man. Great console experience. Unforgettable. So it's up there on there. Next is the PS3. It had potential. It wasn't my favorite console, but it had potential to be my favorite console. It just didn't connect with me. 360 just took over my life. Everything about the 360 was just so much better than the PS3. And since things were going multi-plat, I'm like, why the fuck would I get it on PS3? My PS3 was more so the console exclusive system. I only got Sony exclusives on the PS3, but their exclusives, most of the exclusives that they had, I didn't care about. I did not care about God of War. I wasn't a Ratchet and Clank, even though they're not bad games. I wasn't into Ratchet and Clank. I wasn't into a lot of those exclusives, so it didn't really matter to me. I like Killzone. I played the fuck out of Killzone on my PS3. I'm not going front about that. I bought Final Fantasy 13. Disappointed in that on the PS3. I had bought Tomb Raider for the PS3 as well, but I didn't play my PS3 much, man. Yeah, I didn't care. Yeah, I didn't care. Like Hockey said, like PS3 ports was not that good. PS3 but that was the problem. The free multiplayer was trash. Like when you got the 360, right? It came with a headset. PS3 didn't come with a headset. The 360 came with a headset because this was the message to the 360. When you opened that console and got and when you seen that it came with a headset, it was letting you know that we're about online gaming. We're about the online ecosystem and the online community through Xbox Live. And I did not mind paying a subscription for Xbox Live because you had a better service when it came to patches. You really didn't get any crazy network hacks. But the PS3, yeah, you got it for free. But guess what happened with the Sony? When the Sony got that hack with the PS3, when the PSN shut down and you couldn't access none of your games or anything like that, Sony fanboys were upset. They couldn't access nothing. But the Xbox 360, they had nothing to worry about because you paid for the service. You paid for that service, and that money went to improve those services and those features, opposed to you playing for free. And now you notice that with the PS4, they got away with that. They got away from that free shit, and now you got to pay for Plus, the PlayStation Plus, because that free shit didn't work. It didn't work. I didn't care. So many JRPGs. This is during time I was doing fighting games because I was so busy now. Because eventually later on, I became a dad, college, all this other type of stuff. I didn't have time. And later on during the PS3 and the Xbox 360 and the Wii's life cycle, this is where my life started going downhill. Like personally as a man, like I was going through so much depression, so many bad, just bad things just kept coming into my life and stuff at this time during that era. So JRPGs wasn't even on my mind. Like I was only playing fighting games because that's the only thing I had time for at the time, especially once I became a dad or whatever. So I was away from JRPGs. It wasn't until Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came for the Switch that reawakened my love for JRPGs. I bought my cousins for cheap. Said my favorite. So goes on 2. Used to rent a lot of our games with PS3. It's right too. Back when Naughty Dog was not cringe, playing online in journals sucks. Tekken 6 was the best Tekken until 7. I didn't really like 6 much. Yeah, that hack was bad. I remember when the PS3 blackout happened. Yup. The only thing that saved the PS3 was the Wii's and Japanese titles. I didn't play online to not get a bad experience with online. Just heard friends. Yeah. But yeah, the PS3 didn't care for it. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The Wii had potential. The Wii was not my favorite console, Nintendo console. I wanted a Wii so bad and got it. I got it on my birthday. My dad snapped it for me. He got it for me. I remember coming home. I remember coming home from college on spring break, and there it was. There was my Wii. He surprised me with it. I didn't even know that he got it because remember, this was during the time it was hard to find a Wii, so I couldn't even get it on launch. But I knew I had to get it before Smash Bros. Brawl came out. And yeah, there was. And thing is, here's the crazy thing. My Nintendo Wii library is way bigger than my PS3 library, and it's almost up there with my 360 library. But the Wii was not fun after a while. I got tired of the motion controls. I wanted standard controllers, but it became so cumbersome that you had to attach a Wii Pro controller into the Wii remote while having the Wii remote on your lap or in your pocket or wherever the nonsense was, just to use the Pro controller. So many different type of plastic accessories, shovelware on the Nintendo Wii. Super Smash Bros. Brawl was like my favorite game on there. I didn't have too many favorite games on Nintendo, and I was disappointed in Twilight Princess. It didn't pull me in with Twilight Princess at all. It did. I kept buying games, but it just didn't. The Wii just didn't do it for me, man. And it was an underpowered console too. It was just a beefed up GameCube. At the time, it had potential to get me there, but it was not one of my favorite consoles. Let me see. Yeah, then next we're gonna move on to the Nintendo Wii U. The Nintendo Wii U. Now, Nintendo Wii U was the Sega Dreamcast for the Nintendo. There was so much potential, so many gems. I got so many fucking Wii U games. And the sad part about it is I didn't get to play a lot of them. I got a bunch of them. I played enough of them, but I didn't play a lot of them because, as I said before, I went back to college. I dropped out. I went back to college and graduated from college. And this was like, now I'm starting to get to like the later half of my depression arc. I'm starting to get to the later half of my depression arc with the Wii U. The Wii U bring up so many bad memories in my life, but also some great cherishing moments. My daughter's godmother, she was in the military. She passed away. I believe she was murdered. She had died. She drowned. She went scuba diving with her military mates. And she went down there. They went scuba diving. She went down and everybody came back up but her. And still to this day, I still believe it was foul play because the way she died, how she died, because they said it was a bad storm and her tank got caught onto something. And what happened was they caught onto something, and the weather was so bad under the water or something like that. It was raining, it was storming or something like that. And they left her there. They left her down because they couldn't reach her or something like that. And she drowned under there. So they retrieved her body the next day. And this was like my last semester. No, this was my junior year. This was like it was the end of my junior year of college. And she passed, and I got the news while I was in college. My day one nigga, Nathaniel, he called me up and told me that Stacy, Anastasia, she died. And man, that fucked me up, man. That really fucked me up. That was my daughter's godmother. And she only got a chance to see my daughter like once or twice because she was stationed in Japan for a little bit. So she used to bring back some souvenirs from Japan and stuff. And she only got a chance to see her goddaughter twice or whatever like that. And then and me and her were supposed to do so much because I was going to build, like I was going to build a gaming empire, like a gaming network. You know what I'm saying? I was going to build like gaming news and everything. And she was such a big gamer. I mean, she was a bigger gamer than I was. And I told Stacy, I told Nate that, yo, when I graduate college, man, we're going to do our thing, man. We're going to do something really big together, especially with Anastasia or whatever like that. Because she was a big Metal Gear fan. She knew Metal Gear in and out. and that really fucked me up, man. That like I said, the Wii U, man, I had some great gaming moments, but I can't ever forget the tragic things that it was just so many bad things, man, in my life. At that time, man, like I would never be able to forget that. Every time I think about the Wii U, I'm always going to think about those things because it was just so many bad things that just kept happening left and right. So I lost Anastasia, and then my senior year, I lost my grandmother. She died during my finals and stuff. And I talked about that before and everything, man. It was just so much going on during the Wii U, dude. And when I finally came home, came home. I got Sonic Boom Rise of Lyrics, despite the game not being that good because of how bad it was with the glitches and stuff. I enjoyed playing it. Super Smash Bros. Wii U. I played that for a little bit. That wasn't Smash Bros. Wii U wasn't really my favorite, even though it had all the characters that I wanted. It just gameplay and everything. I don't know. It just felt it didn't feel as. It felt more stale. I got bored of it faster. I think I enjoyed the 3DS version more than I enjoyed the Wii U version of it. Xenoblade Chronicles. I ended up buying X. I bought that. I was disappointed in that. But Mario Kart. I love the Mario Kart. I love Pokemon Pokken Tournament. Man, I got a shit ton of Wii U games, but it was I love the Miiverse that they had on there, and I was able to chat with friends and stuff like that. I made a lot of friends on the Nintendo Wii U. I love the gamepad idea that they had with it and stuff. How Nintendo was trying to innovate and try different things, and everything. And yeah, man, it was one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite consoles. And then, of course, right after that, I bought the PS4. How can I say it? Is the PS4 my favorite console? I would say PS4 had potential. The PS4, I all I did was play fighting games on it. This is, like I said, I'm about to leave my depression arc in my life. Oops, I forgot to put the thing back up. Yeah, the PS4 had potential to be my favorite console. This is where I'm starting to get away from the depression arc in my life during the PS4 era. And like I said before, my life was so chaotic and everything. I didn't have time to sit down and play a lot of JRPGs. I didn't really play JRPGs much at all on the PS4. Like, my PS4 was just a fighting game console. This was during my PS4, during my fighting game craze. Street Fighter 5, I was getting Guilty Gear XR, Rev 2, and Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle and Blaz Blue, and then Tekken. It was nothing but a fighting game machine, my PS4. Yeah, I have Nier Automata. I played. The only JRPG that I played almost nearly 100 hours in was Final Fantasy VII Remake on my PS4. But my PS4, I wouldn't say was my favorite console. My PS4 was a console that had potential, but it didn't. The PS4 didn't really do much for me. Like I said, it was only for playing fighting games. And this during time I was doing more streaming and doing more YouTube content and stuff. Kingdom Hearts 3 was a disappointment. I got a bunch of PS3 games, but Final Fantasy 15 sucked. And I was playing Dead or Alive 5, final round or last round, however the title was. But yeah, it was more so a fighting game machine, my PS4. All right, Brett. He said, yes, the PS4 had a good start. Then Sony went woke 2015, 2016. So that is my most played age in console. Yeah, so the downgrade in terms of features and consoles are as far as games, features, and consoles. Yeah, so I would not even play Final 15 with a fake Final Fantasy 7 skin over it. Only for Bloodborne until Dawn, Wipeout, great console. Yeah, I didn't really care for the PS4. Xbox One, lackluster. Didn't even buy. I got an Xbox One. Didn't even buy any games for it. Like it was lacking exclusives. I wouldn't say I didn't buy any games. I had some games, but it sucked at multiplats. Didn't have any exclusives. The Xbox One X is when things got, I guess, a little bit better, but I already checked out of the Xbox, so that was lackluster. And then after that, man, here we go. The Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch became one of my favorite consoles, Nintendo consoles. And back of the GameCube. What I like about the Nintendo Switch, man, is because it's JRPG galore. This is where my life is starting to change. I'm taking charge of my life. I'm making money. I'm able to provide for my daughter. Got her in private school and stuff. You know, my baby mom is trying to crawl back into my life, and I'm like, hell no at this time. And as far as the games are concerned, man, Xenoblade Chronicles, dude. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the thing that did it for me for the Nintendo Switch, for it to be one of my favorite consoles, man. One of my favorite consoles. And the only reason why the GameCube is at the front is because of the unforgettable experiences that I had with friends and the moments that I had in my life. And it was the first console that I bought with my own money, my hard-earned money, and my father was proud of me. But other than that, if that wasn't the case for GameCube, Switch would be like the #1 on the tier spot for favorite console. The Nintendo Switch, man, I got more games on Nintendo Switch and more backlogs on Nintendo Switch than my PS4, then my Xbox Series X and my PS5. Nintendo Switch, man, had really done it for me. And I'm not gonna lie, even the pre-order, the midnight release was also fun, man. Met a lot of gamers that night when I went to go pick up my Nintendo Switch. A YouTuber, they go by the name, her name is Nintendo Fangirl. After the Nintendo was Switch had its presentation, they said that the pre-orders was up. Couldn't find the pre-orders at all. And I mentioned, said, damn, I can't find any pre-orders. Nintendo Fangirl, because I met her at Otakon. I did an interview with her and everything. Me and her became friends on social media. Nintendo Fangirl DM'd me. Best Buy. Best Buy was the only place that had it up before everybody else. No one knew Best Buy had it up. So I linked my brothers and my dad to it, and that's how I was able to snatch up a pre-order for the Nintendo Switch. I was able to get a Nintendo Switch because of that. When that happened, so I was like happy. I was like a happy camper at that time when it came to the Nintendo Switch. And man, it was so many games. And the fact is that remasters and also the fact that we was getting Nintendo Wii U ports, so I didn't have to go back and plug in my Wii U to play some of these gems that I had. I was able to get it, the definitive edition, on the Nintendo Switch, and now you're able to carry these games around on the go and everything. And like I said, I put hundreds and hundreds of hours just alone on my JRPGs. Alive for the Switch, all the Xeno games on the Switch, hundreds of hours. You know what I'm saying? Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, put over 100-something hours in that. The Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3, I put a lot of hours in that. I was able to get my Pokken Tournament, Astral Chain. I put a lot of, look, dude, the list goes on and on. Like, the Nintendo Switch is actually a really, really good console. I play it more than, like I said, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and the PS4. Like, the Switch dominated this generation. It really did. Or mid-generation. Yep. And then the last two, the PS5 potential and the Xbox Series X. Well, I play the Xbox Series X more than my PS5 because I try to support as many Japanese games as possible on the Series X. I put them both in potential because the potential is there for them to be great consoles. It really is. It's just that this console generation was just an ass. It was just ass. It was just a shitty generation of gaming. Like this, now we into the woke era of games getting watered down, culture war bullshit mixed into all this. Studios are now getting shut down left and right. My favorite Japanese studios are got hit with the woke virus here and there. So this wasn't like a really fun time for games, but I always try to go out there and support the games, that I really enjoy or I see the potential in. And my Xbox 360, I treat it like it's a Dreamcast. Like I try to get a lot of Sega games on the platform. I try to get a lot of JRPGs. Anytime anything JRPG that is available for the Series X, I try. And if there's a physical version, I would get it. I will buy it over the PS5. The only time I play a PS5 game is if it's an exclusive to PS5, or if the Xbox Series X version do not have a physical version, I'll grab it for the PS5. Like both consoles have a potential to be great, but right now they're not great. You know what I'm saying? If you get what I understand with that. But overall, man. This is the tier list. Dreamcast is number one as far as unforgettable experience. And if you notice, most of the classic consoles are at the top for unforgettable because these are like the introduction to the evolution and that's to the evolution of gaming itself. And then of course my favorites. These are the consoles that I spent a lot of time with, had some cherishing moments. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say they were like groundbreaking. I wouldn't say that they were like super, super groundbreaking because now we're getting to the point where now we're getting a lot of games, we're getting introduced to a lot of new games, but I wouldn't say they were super unforgettable experiences that my favorite games, favorite consoles have bought compared to with the ones at the top. These were like they really bought in. They bought in something different. You know what I'm saying? Dreamcast was the opening to the 128-bit era. PlayStation really bought in the 32-bit era, and with 3D gaming and also high quality audio, cinematic storytelling within gaming, voice acting. 64 brought in that couch co-op experience, 4-player split screen, and then the Xbox 360 brought in that online gaming with the Xbox 360 ecosystem. It was unmatched. Anybody who say PS3 was just as good as the Xbox 360 is just a fanboy. Like hands down, Xbox Live had the best online as far as the console gaming experience. Super Nintendo, the JRPGs, and we just got into the 16-bit era. At the Sega came in first, and Super Nintendo said, "Yo, we can do even better." You know what I'm saying? And then of course Sega was my first actual gaming console that my parents bought for me and that I owned. And the NES belonged up there is because it was the first console I've ever played, period, at the age of 4. So yeah, man, that's my tier list, and everything. We was here for a minute, like 3-hour stream, and it was really, really good. It's sad what gaming has become. I truly agree. Thank goodness the PS3 region free and backwards compatible. I think some of them, with some of the PS3s backwards compatible. Only some PS3s were. Cause PS5 is my last console, PS3, and it was the best era, period. Yeah, PS3 and 360 era was the best era, man. The game, golden era. We'll never probably get that ever again unless I'll say that for another video. That's gonna be on Friday. So I might just do PC gaming exclusively this generation. Yeah, I think next generation, man, I might just go exclusively PC if we continue to go in the way we going, because like they're talking like we're going to be going like really digital, with gaming and stuff. So I don't know, man. We have to wait and see. But that pretty much cover up this stream for tonight, man. I'm glad you guys came through and everything and stopped by and showed some love and they have a conversation with you guys with this man. I really, really, really enjoyed this. Just bring back a lot of memories in my life throughout my growth as a gamer, man, from a child all the way up to a grown as adult, with a child of my own or a teenager of my own now, and everything. So I hope you guys, I'm getting the Switch too, man. Hopefully, like we'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about that this week. But I hope you guys have a good night, man. I'm gonna go eat something and wind down and work on some other things. I gotta talk with my artists and stuff like that. about a couple of these characters and stuff for VK. So I hope you guys have a good night. And I'll be seeing you Game Fiends later. Wednesday, Luke and TV episode 6. So stay tuned. See you Game Fiends later. Peace out.